Ladies and gentlemen, please settle down. We'll begin shortly. Thank you.
अभी देखेंगे थोड़ी और बड़ी रील करनी थी चेंज वाली ना वो बैलेंस भी तो रखना होगा है ना चेक करें
Ladies and gentlemen, kindly take your seats as we're about to begin any minute now. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly take your seats. Please settle down. Honorable Chief Guest, guests of honor, special guests, conference patron and Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Deans, Directors, all of our distinguished personalities here, and of course, our delegates, participants, and guests from some of the most renowned and esteemed educational institutions and organizations in Pakistan and abroad. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. I am Sibgha Raza Khan, and let me just tell you how truly honored I am to be your host today for this momentous occasion. As you're aware, we're gathered here today for the inaugural ceremony of the first ever international conference on emerging trends in biomedical engineering, science and technology, I said best, being organized by Salim Habib University's Department of Biomedical Engineering. Before we proceed further, let's have a round of applause for the efforts behind this conference and for all of us for making it here today. Please join me in a round of applause. I said best 2024 is going to be a once in a lifetime experience, and I can guarantee that it will be that because it consists of 2 days of workshops, technical sessions, poster competitions, project exhibitions, and a lot more, most important of which is the intellectual discourse, which will undoubtedly lead to revelations and breakthroughs with the potential to forever impact the future of healthcare and science. Let's officially begin the program, for which I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Mohammad Sarib Naeem, a first-year student of biomedical engineering here at Salim Habib University, to please recite from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر. سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. तर्जुमा, वही अल्लाह है जिसके सिवा कोई माबूद नहीं, बादशाह निहायत पाक सलामती देने वाला, बख्शने वाला, हिफाजत फरमाने वाला, बहुत इज़्ज़त वाला, बेहद अज़मत वाला, अपनी बड़ाई बयान फरमाने वाला। اللہ ان مشرکوں کے شرک سے پاک ہے، وہی اللہ بنانے والا ہے، پیدا کرنے والا، ہر ایک کو صورت دینے والا ہے، سب اچھے نام اسی کے ہیں۔ آسمانوں اور زمین میں موجود ہر چیز اسی کی پاکی بیان کرتے ہیں، اور وہی بہت عزت والا، بڑا حکمت والا ہے۔ صدق اللہ العظیم۔
Jazakallah Sarib, what a beautiful recitation. I'd now like to invite Mr. Mohammad Sufyan Shah, another student of Biomedical Engineering at Salim Habib University, to recite a Naat.
صلی اللہ علیک یا رسول اللہ، وسلم علیک یا حبیب اللہ۔ سنتے ہیں کہ محشر میں صرف ان کی رسائی ہے، سنتے ہیں کہ محشر میں صرف ان کی رسائی ہے، سنتے ہیں کہ محشر میں صرف ان کی رسائی ہے، گر ان کی رسائی ہے لو پھر تو بنائی ہے، گر ان کی رسائی ہے لو پھر تو بنائی ہے۔ مچلا ہے کہ رحمت نے امید بندھائی ہے، مچلا ہے کہ رحمت نے امید بندھائی ہے، کیا بات تیری مجرم، کیا بات بنائی ہے، کیا بات تیری مجرم، کیا بات بنائی ہے، سنتے ہیں کہ محشر میں صرف ان کی رسائی ہے، ایسے سب انہی کا ہے، پر دل کی اگر پوچھو، ایسے سب انہی کا ہے، پر دل کی اگر پوچھو، یہ ٹوٹے ہوئے دل ہی خاص ان کی کمائی ہے، یہ ٹوٹے ہوئے دل ہی خاص ان کی کمائی ہے، سنتے ہیں کہ محشر میں صرف ان کی رسائی ہے، سنتے ہیں کہ محشر میں صرف ان کی رسائی ہے، میدان عمل میں تو سودا نہ بنا اپنا، میدان عمل میں تو سودا نہ بنا اپنا، سرکار کرم سرکار کرم سرکار کرم تجھ میں، عیبی کی سمائی ہے سرکار کرم تجھ میں، عیبی کی سمائی ہے، سنتے ہیں کہ محشر میں صرف ان کی رسائی ہے، مجرم کو نہ شرماؤ احباب کفن ڈھک دو، مجرم کو نہ شرماؤ احباب کفن ڈھک دو، منہ دیکھ کے کیا ہوگا پردے میں بھلائی ہے، منہ دیکھ کے کیا ہوگا پردے میں بھلائی ہے، سنتے ہیں کہ محشر میں صرف ان کی رسائی ہے۔ جزاک اللہ۔
Subhan Allah. Ladies and gentlemen, let us stand in honor of the beautiful place that we call our homeland. Please rise for the national anthem. Let us officially begin this event with me giving you a brief introduction of the distinguished personalities behind what is today Salim Habib University. Hailing from the humble background of Toba Tek Singh, Dr. Muhammad Salim Habib, a legendary icon of philanthropy and an icon of Pakistan's pharmaceutical industry as well, realized the issue pertaining to illiteracy in the country. Being a man of his visionary caliber, he identified the gaps in our educational system and is since then leaving no stone unturned to give back to society in the form of the most noble gifts ever: safe and easy access to quality education. Let's have a round of applause for our life chairman and founder, Dr. Muhammad Salim Habib. A leader is someone who demonstrates what's possible. Dr. Salim Habib's vision became a reality through the sincere and dedicated and tireless efforts of Dr. Iram Afaq, who made it all possible through her exemplary leadership skills, her strength, her determination, and her resilience. Her formula for success is simple: CBA. Conceive it, believe it, and achieve it. Please join me in a round of applause for our Chancellor, the founder and Chief Executive Officer of the Salim Habib Education Foundation and the Deputy Chairman of Barrett Hodgson, Pakistan, Dr. Iram Afaq. This brings us to the Salim Habib Education Foundation, which is a not-for-profit organization founded in 2007 after the struggles of both Dr. Muhammad Salim Habib and Dr. Iram Afaq. The foundation works to provide safe and quality education and healthcare facilities to the people of Pakistan and currently has 2 large-scale projects in the country, the first of which is the Salim Habib Education Complex in Toba Tek Singh and of course Salim Habib University, Karachi. Let's watch a short documentary on this esteemed institution.
Since its inception, our educational institution has proven its mettle and evolved. It continues to grow and advance, but its purpose remains constant: to provide quality university education to the Pakistani youth. Salim Habib University is a not-for-profit institution supported by the Salim Habib Education Foundation, a not-for-profit organization committed to giving the people of Pakistan safe and easy access to international standard educational and healthcare facilities. The vision of our life chairperson, Dr. Muhammad Salim Habib, has become a reality and has resulted in a university that runs in a league of its own. Under the capable leadership of the Chief Executive Officer and founding member of the Foundation and the Chancellor of the University, Dr. Iram Afaq, Salim Habib University is a realized vision in pursuit of excellence in higher education, creativity and innovation.
University education helps to improve professional qualification that can be recognized and valued all over the world. Universities play a pivotal role in infusing creativity, independent thinking, ability, exposure to new research and technology, helping their students to learn and discover new venues of life.
The university is located at Korangi Creek, Karachi, and spans over 6 acres of lush landscaping. Is centered around a purpose-built 5-story academic block that is on a par with modern international educational architecture. It also features a uniquely designed 4-level library and hosts a wide range of collection comprising thousands of physical and digital volumes. We also have 33 fully equipped state-of-the-art labs designed to provide hands-on learning for every discipline of study offered at the university. Salim Habib University offers world-class program in the discipline of biomedical engineering, biosciences, pharmaceutical sciences, information technology, and management sciences.
The Department of Biomedical Engineering aims to train and produce next generation of accomplished biomedical engineers, researchers, innovators, and entrepreneurs.
We offer innovatively designed courses in emerging fields such as artificial intelligence, telemedicine, medical device and quality standards, and more. The cutting-edge biomedical engineering laboratories at Salim Habib University are developed to provide experiential learning using different trainer boards to interface operational amplifiers, myoelectric and brain-computer interface system, digital system development, and signal processing boards. The laboratories are well equipped with additive manufacturing facility, material testing equipment, human anatomical models, and latest software. We also have NILVIS, a modular engineering educational laboratory device, developed specifically for hands-on training to enhance experimental engineering skills.
I'm thankful to the Department of Biomedical Engineering at Salim Habib University for empowering me enough to take up novel research projects and specialize in the fields of my choosing.
with a broad range of esteemed organizations and institutions with the aim of building collaborative ventures and initiating thought-provoking dialogue. Salim Habib University has a dedicated career placement and industrial liaison office that aims to guide and assist students in exploring all possible career options and deciding on a suitable career path that aligns with their capabilities, interests, and skills.
Putting education first, we focus solely on educating the youth of the country. At Salim Habib University, we offer international and local opportunities and huge exposure. Mentorship and professional training sessions, counseling and one-on-one psychometric evaluation sessions, industry visits, leadership opportunities for students, and a vibrant campus life.
Student life at Salim Habib University is dynamic, engaging, and fulfilling in a way that helps develop students' personalities. Our reputation has enabled us to establish partnerships.
What else do you need? We have everything you could possibly imagine, and our mission is ongoing.
The Salim Habib Education Foundation is currently building a state-of-the-art Fatma Business School, which is an advanced, ultra-modern building with facilities designed to combine the worlds of business, technology, and science.
I am a proud part of this world-class institution, and if you would like to feel the same pride, join us.
With quality education, skill-based knowledge, and a world of opportunities before them. We have every hope that our students will shape the future. Salim Habib University is here to empower young leaders, to ensure that they can lead us and our future generation to prosperity, and to create a better, brighter tomorrow. Since its inception.
Thank you for watching, audience. We now have something very special for you to see. This is something that the marketing department at Salim Habib University has collaborated with the Department of Biomedical Engineering for, and it's in honor of the noble profession of biomedical engineering and its life-saving potential. Please watch.
Hello Danish, how are you?
I am fine, sir. आज 7 साल बाद आपसे मुलाकात का मौका मिला है.
You have come on a very perfect day. Today we have your old class teacher, Miss Samina, with us.
I hope that you enjoyed this lovely video and the message that it has conveyed. Let's indeed all join hands to make things better for humanity. It is now my honor to invite to the podium the Vice Chancellor of Salim Habib University and the conference patron, Professor Dr. Shakil Ahmed Khan, To just briefly introduce him, Dr. Shakil has a PhD in biochemistry and applied molecular biology from Manchester and has been a part of academia for over 40 years. He is an inspiration to generations of young students, scientists, researchers, and academicians. Please welcome him as he joins us to present the welcome address.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Vice Chairman, Sindh Higher Education Commission, Vice Chancellors of different universities, members, Board of Governors, Salim Habib University, my teachers, I can see two of my teachers sitting in this, in this hall, respected faculty members, dignitaries, and audience, Assalamu alaikum. I welcome all of you to the first international conference on emerging trends in biomedical sciences, biomedical engineering, science, and technology. Now, the theme of this conference is such a broader one. It is covering almost all parts of science, not only engineering. So I hope that while during this conference, people will be presenting their research not only related to engineering, but also to the different aspects of science and technology, which also include the life sciences, papers from the life sciences, and also from the different fields of the engineering. Now, personally, I'm a believer that such events are very important events. Why? Because they provide an opportunity to the audience to improve their networking and to develop new interaction so that it can lead to future collaborations and you can write proper research projects. Now, this particular thing is very important for the budding researchers as well, because it is the place where the experts of their fields are here and they are going to share their knowledge. For that matter, you should try to get as much benefit from this conference, especially the students and the new researchers. They should take the advantage of this conference. Now, I think that at the end of the 2 days, many of us will go back with a knowledge which has slightly improved. And with this, I would like to congratulate all the members of the Faculty of Engineering and their team, and also the other support staff who have facilitated them in organizing this conference. Thank you very much and welcome once again.
It is time for me to now invite our conference convener, Professor Dr. Zishan ul Haq, to address you. Professor Dr. Zishan ul Haq is also the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering at Salim Habib University and has attained transcontinental education with a master's from the United Kingdom and a PhD from the University of Auckland, New Zealand. He is an institution in himself when it comes to the field of biomedical engineering. Please welcome him on stage.
Respected Chief Guest, Guests of Honors, Vice Chancellors, Deans, Registrar, faculty members, participants, guests, and other members, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of the organizing committee of the conference and the Department of Biomedical Engineering, I warmly welcome you to the inaugural session of the ISAT Best. Okay. This is our first conference, and we are very hopeful that this conference will provide the beneficial role to the engineering, science, and technology fields. Here, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to our esteemed partners and sponsors whose support has been influential in the reality to become this conference a reality. I special thanks to Sindh Higher Education Commission, Pakistan Engineering Council, Institute of Engineers Pakistan, Karachi Center, and the Institution of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, Karachi Center, for their invaluable suggestions, guidance, and cooperation for this conference. Moreover, I would like to mention that this conference would not be happen possible without the support of our BA societies. For example, IEEE SHU Student Branch, BUSME BME, IEEE EMBS Branch Chapter of SHU, as well as VME Society. Let us grasp this opportunity to foster collaboration, to spark innovation, and contribute to the advancement of engineering, science, and technology. In the end, I would like to thank you once again for your presence, and I am looking forward to your active participation in the conference, and let us make this conference a resounding success. Let the conference begin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Zishan. We have among us today some incredibly experienced and knowledgeable personalities, and we're going to take full advantage of that opportunity and allow them to share their expertise, their insights, and their knowledge with us. In keeping with this goal, I'd like to now invite our first keynote speaker of the day, who is Professor Dr. Syed Athar Inam. Professor Inam is a US board-certified neurosurgeon, a professor of neurosurgery, and chair of the Department of Surgery at the Aga Khan University, Karachi, Pakistan. He has a specialist certification in neurosurgery from Canada, a fellowship of the Royal Colleges of Surgeons from Canada, Ireland, and Glasgow, and a fellowship of the American College of Surgeons. He has been awarded several accolades and honors for his work in the USA and Pakistan, including the Physician of the Year Medallion, Master Surgeon Award, Excellence in Neurosurgery Award, and the Presidential Award Sitara-e-Imtiaz. Let's welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning, distinguished guests, which includes all of you, obviously, because everybody is distinguished, right? So thank you very much for the organizers, especially Professor Dr. Zishan, who invited me for this talk. And after thinking about it a little bit, I decided that maybe it's best to give a brief overview of part of the research that I'm doing in Pakistan since I came back, and what have my efforts been. So that would help, hopefully, the younger audience over here, who is apparently at this time more interested in looking at these cell phones. So if they can look at this and try to think in those lines, how to build it up, how to set things up, it takes time. So what I'm going to show you over here, that has been after about 20 years since I've been in Pakistan, since I came back. So I decided my focus is neuroscience as well as brain tumors. So I wanted to talk about the perspective of cancer. And cancer is a major issue which I'll talk about now, and how working on brain tumors can be reflected upon other cancers. So putting it totally together with the aspect of your country. So research you know, if you guys want to do research, you can do research on anything, and there is special pleasure in doing just knowledge-based research, which is excellent. But then we can't afford purely knowledge-based research. We have to make sure that the research helps us as well. And that's where the idea of LMIC, the lower middle income country, comes in, that our research should be relevant. You have so much amount of money given by different sources to do research. Research is an expensive thing. You don't want to use it or waste the money on different aspects of research which is not going to help you so much. So the best way of looking at it is look at the problem and try to see what you can do to enhance the situation in the, improve the situation in the country. So, ये आपका काम नहीं कर रहा है, अच्छा. And obviously, okay, all right. So there are no disclosures, no conflict of interest. I just want to mention the HEC grant, the Grand Challenge Fund, which has funded some of the research over here in the past. And by the way, this this video I got when I was flying from Indonesia to Karachi. And look at this beautiful image of the Aga Khan University. I don't think any university has this kind of a in-flight movie. I wanted to mention about the 4 logos on the right side. The first one is the Pakistan Society of Basic and Applied Neuroscience. This we formed about in 2007 with Professor Pirzada Qasim, who was the Vice Chancellor of University of Karachi then, and few other people. And on that, we are doing a lot of work in trying to popularize neuroscience across the country. Now, moving out from Karachi, we have gone to Lahore, and the 10th Annual Neuroscience Conference is being held in Lahore. So that's an amazing thing, and if you guys are interested in neuroscience, make sure that you become part of the PASBAN. The other one is the Pakistan Society of Neuro-Oncology, which focuses on the brain tumors, and more of the academia and research is taken care of by the PASNO, and another sister organization, Brain Tumor Foundation of Pakistan, looks at the perspective of how we can improve the life of the patients who are suffering from brain tumors. And then the other logo is the Pakistan Academy of Neurological Surgery. That's where I have put everything together, where all the educational activities that we can do in teaching and training students across or the residents across Pakistan. So go to their websites and see if you can, if you have any interest in that. Okay, so I mentioned about the perspective, right? So here's the perspective. The top figure is an MRI of a gentleman that came from northern part of Pakistan. He was pretty lethargic when I saw him in the hospital bed. His son had brought him from Gilgit area, and 63-year-old, just a couple of years older than I am. But he was hemiparetic, could not move, could not talk. I talked to his son and I said, look, it looks like a glioblastoma multiforme, which is one of the worst tumors in the brain. And we can do the surgery on it, we can do radiation and chemotherapy, but it will cost money. As far as surgery is concerned, I can arrange for a complete welfare package in AKU, so that won't cost you anything, but then you will still need money for chemotherapy and radiation therapy. He was very gung-ho about getting it taken care of. So I said, it doesn't look like that you will be able to afford all those treatments. How will you manage it? He said, I will sell my land that I used to till and make money for my family. I said, कितने में बिकेगी वो ज़मीन? उसने कहा 12 लाख में बिक जाएगी. Now at that time, the cost after surgery, if we can do it free, then chemotherapy and a good radiation therapy would still have cost about 16 lakh rupees at that point. And I told him that, look, if you sell your land, your children will not have a future because they are going through school, you will have to take some loans. And what will I do to your father? Because if I don't treat him, he will live on average for about 6 months. And if I do not treat him, If I do not treat him, he will live on average for 6 months. If I treat him with everything, surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation therapy, he will live for 15 months on average. So on average, he will gain 9 months. Do you think you want to do that? Now, in USA, where I used to practice, I never would think about it. A patient comes in with this age, next thing you do is surgery, get a biopsy, start chemotherapy, radiation therapy. But here I have to think about it constantly. That gentleman, he was 30-something-year-old, had his own children. He realized the gravity of the situation. He realized that the other option is comfort care, and next morning he went back to Gilgit. And probably this gentleman must have died by now. The other case, which is in the bottom figures, the first picture on the left shows a tumor, which is a low-grade glioma, which was resected very well. Maybe those who know the MRIs can understand that. This patient was supposed to come and see me in 6 months' time. She did not came for about 3.5 years. When she came back, she was having severe seizures. The tumor had spread all over, and I could not do much about it. And why couldn't she come? Because the access was an issue. She was again from a part of the country which was very far off, and traveling and all that thing was difficult for her. So these are the two major issues that are faced in what we call as the public health issues. One is affordability, and the other is accessibility. And those two issues are present in whether it's a global surgery, whether it's a trauma, whether it's anything. It's the issue that you come across again and again. So our research should focus, biomedical research should focus on those aspects. And that's why the unmet need for surgery in South Asia is something that we got interested in. We came out with a supplement in BMJ. Professor Bhutta was involved in it. If you notice in the lower right corner, you'll notice that Pakistan and India, those are really at the top in terms of population across the country. And we are one of the poorest nations in terms of per capita gross national income, which is about $1,500 per person per year. And in the graph that just came up, if you notice that the blue bars, those are the cumulative GDP lost in low-income countries because of the cancers. So that's going to grow bigger and bigger over time. If it's projected to 2030, as it is in this one, that will be our major issue in terms of our financial cost for healthcare. So that's coming up. So we have to focus on cancer more than anything else, because that's going to be a major problem over time. And if you notice that, about 50% of the population live on less than $2.50 a day, and the gross, the per capita GNI in Pakistan is just $1,500 a day. If you look at the square over here on the left side, you notice that there's something called catastrophic expenditure. Because of these expenses, and we in the LMIC suffer most because we do not have health insurance. About 150 million individuals face catastrophic expenditure, and because of that, 25 million households, 25 million families are pushed below the poverty line just because the expenditures, medical expenditures. And you always want to vilify hospitals and doctors, and it's just not that. It's the expenses of medical care in terms of gadgetry, in terms of medications, those are the 95% expenses. The individuals, the organizations, they are not really in here to make money. It's just that the whole thing has become so expensive. So with that in mind, what we do is people like us, they go abroad, they get educated, they come back and say, hey, look, I'm a hotshot neurosurgeon. I can take care of a lot of problems. But the problem is that we end up pushing a square peg through a round hole. What we learned abroad, what we learn in different institutions across the world may not apply over here. Our problems are different. We can't just learn something and push it into the problem, trying to solve these problems over here. We need to understand the problems over here. Here's an example. So a craniotomy in a private setup costs about $5,000. Okay? If you look at it, some of these things, for example, this pinkish stuff which is called 5-ALA, that is used by neurosurgeons across the world so that it lights up the tumor cells so you can remove the tumor very nicely, each and every part of it. The overall effect of this in terms of survival is very little, but the cost of that medication is about $1,200. So that's about 20% of the total cost of the craniotomy. Does it make sense? It does not. The chemotherapy, in terms of the chemotherapy, some of the chemotherapies are about $500,000. Can we afford that? We cannot. Look at the gadgets that we have, and I'm a perpetrator of that myself. You know, all these expensive things that we obtain, you know, the man toys, what we call that. Are they really that important? Maybe not, because we are living in an LMIC. This medication that I used to use very frequently in USA, it's an alkylating agent for chemotherapy. It's called Gliadel wafers. I have used it only once in Pakistan, and this is for recurrent GBM. The cost of this thing is about $11,000. Put that together with the cost of the craniotomy, which is about $5,000. Does not make sense to do this when it gives the overall survival of about 1.2 months on average. It does not make sense. So we have to stay away from those things. We have to think about other aspects, how to improve the healthcare in Pakistan. And for that purpose, things like interdisciplinary twinning programs where we work with different organizations. So here we work with the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto. That has given good results. Using telemedicine, and a lot of people are doing it, and I think this is a fertile ground to work on the telemedicine aspect to improve things on that one. And then only essential techniques. So when I keep on coming back to the neurosurgery because I'm a neurosurgeon and I do craniotomies for brain tumors. So we don't need expensive gadgets like all these colorful MRIs. What we can do is just to do an awake craniotomy and just go in and just keep on stimulating to see what part of the brain we have to leave behind and what of the part of the brain can be removed when we are removing the brain tumor. And that works very well. So this is a gentleman that I did with that technique, and he had a GBM and it was gross total resection of the tumor just because of that technique. And that technique is not expensive. It can be used in Gumbat, it can be used in Chichok, Malia, anywhere where there are good anesthesiologists. Awake craniotomy is something that the reason that I introduced it in Pakistan was for this purpose, and this started about 2015, where you basically, patient is awake, you open up the head, you use all these electrodes, and you stimulate different part of the brain. Now, again, a thought for you, for the young ones, that putting these electrodes over here, each electrode is about 50 to 60,000 rupees, and it's just a matter of little small platinum with a fine wire. Why can't we produce it over here? I've been trying to do this thing for the last several years. Instead of putting these electrodes, so expensive electrodes, and importing it from outside, we should be able to make this. It just has a surface that needs to touch on the cortex of the brain, and you can do all the recording. So this is something that one should think about, these innovations. Anyway, so awake craniotomy basically does a lot of, this is not running over. Okay. So,
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Huwallahu alladhi la ilaha illa huwa ar-Rahmanir-Rahim al-Malikul Quddus.
You might have heard about these videos where they are playing guitar or something. Nobody has done that. Awake craniotomy, his brain is being operated upon and he's reciting the Holy Quran. This is something that actually gives us more information than playing the So awake craniotomy definitely shows its benefit. We see these bars show that awake craniotomy causes less neurological damage. So that's one thing that we did. And this is putting it all together in terms of what we call as global neuro-oncology, which I mentioned as what we formed as the Global Society of Neuro-Oncology, PASNO. Now, when we come to look at the landscape, the problem is we don't know much about. Know thyself, know thy enemy, 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. If you look at this map, Pakistan over there, we don't know what is the incidence of brain tumor in Pakistan. So we need to do research on that one. And that led to making of this consortium. Pakistan Brain Tumor Epidemiological Study was done, which was published in JPMA as a series. And it turns out that we have a different disease actually. If you look at the blue bars, that's from the study that I did, Pakistan Brain Tumor Epidemiological Study. And if you look at the red graphs, those are the study that was done in USA, where they did the CB Trust, that data. It clearly shows that in our population, we get brain tumors much earlier. So there's a difference in population. The problem is different. Although if you look at the demographics, there's a difference in the demographics also between USA and Pakistan. Still, it does not explain that. And not only that, we identified a lot of gaps. About 2/3 of the patients, once the surgery is done, we don't know what happened to them. Did they get their chemotherapy? Did they get the radiation therapy? They're lost to follow up. That's a major issue. The women, the females, are not being taken care of for their diseases properly. There's a disparity over there also. So all those things came to light. The people have to travel in a typical high-income country. The distance that you travel for a medical care is about 10 kilometers. In other LMICs, it's about 30 kilometers. In our case, it was about 50 plus kilometers for 60% of patients and 500 kilometers for 20% of patients. That's tremendous distance traveling, tremendous stress on the patient. So we need to look at the PB test. We are looking at the prospective data collection and looking at the health economics. Now, when it comes to innovation, and this is very much with the emerging trends in biomedical engineering, there are now and then some disruptive innovation that come in. This is Dr. Khan Siddiqui. He's an AQ alumnus. He was the first scientist who developed this portable MRI. Now, you know, you guys who have seen the MRI, it's a big suite. You go in and there's a, you know, you're supposed to take everything off, your watch and your belt and your anak and everything to go inside. But here, this little machine, you can push it through and take it to anywhere to the bedside. And it gives excellent results. So why not use that? We don't need a whole suite. We don't need 10 people to take care of it. It's just one resident can handle this and do this. And you know, we did research on that one. We have published a lot of papers on that already. We were the first one actually to use it in the world, first one to use it intraoperatively. You remove brain tumor, you do the MRI, use this machine, see how much brain tumor has been removed. And if you look at the images on the right panel, they are pretty good images. Not as good as a 1.5 Tesla MRI would do, but very good images. And that's good for our LMIC. And then finally, we talk about this artificial intelligence. And this is where the HEC has funded us. So if you look at this image, in the center, I know it's a GBM. Most of you guys won't know it's a GBM. Most of you may think it's a brain tumor. Those who have in high school, they may not know that there is a tumor. So there are all these different tumors that only experience tells you. So if you collect all the data and use AI-based algorithm, we should be able to come up with a good understanding. And that's what we have been doing for the last few years, and using different MRI images to predict the image. And for example, over here, this is Kiran Aftab. She is doing her PhD now in Cambridge. We did this algorithm building, and it has pretty good predictability with NED University. The other one that we are doing is with the FAST and other places. Put it all together because it's all molecular, so just radiogenomics will not work. Just radiomics will not work. You have to put the genomics in there also. And for genomics, microRNA, which most of you may not be aware of that, only few of those who are medical doctors may be aware of that, microRNA play a very important role. There are more than 5,000 microRNAs, and how they control the genes for cancer. So we're looking into that also, putting it all together, and we have shown that there is a really, some microRNAs may play a significant role. We can use those microRNAs and detect them in blood also. So just like virtual biopsy, where you can get an MRI and without going in, you can tell what tumor it is, you can draw some blood sample and figure out what tumor is in what condition and whether it's getting better or not. Putting it all together with the stem cells, that's what we are working on now, because only a small percentage of tumors are actually stem cells, and they are different. You can kill all the cells, but if stem cells are still there, the tumor will grow back. So why not go after the stem cells? So we're looking into the molecular biology of stem cells with respect to the microRNA. And here is some of the analysis that we did on stem cells using MRI and figuring out where there are more stem cells in the brain tumors and how we can take care of them. And obviously, our land is full of all these herbs and medications that we can use from HEG and other places. And we were using things from different herbal compounds to show the effect on the brain tumors. It has shown some effect. This is neat. This I've been trying to develop. It has developed pretty much, where actually you can grow a brain in the test tube. So you can take the induced pluripotent stem cells. You can take the cell from the skin, and then bring it back to the undifferentiated cell, then differentiate into the lines of the brain. So what we have over here is this is the brain spheroid. It's about less than a millimeter, and the red one is the tumor spheroid. So I can take the samples from a tumor of a patient and then put it together. It takes a lot of work to put it together, but then you can see one invading the other, and then at the surface, which molecules are important to push it back, which molecules are important to help us in pushing it back. We can study that, and there are certain ECM molecules that I found that work on this thing. But this is an assay that we can use in Pakistan, and it's much cheaper assay instead of going into the in vivo studies. So this is the last slide. So basically, if I'm just giving an example of brain tumor, from a brain tumor, one can get an MRI picture in the top panel. And from that MRI, one can do the processing and annotation and segmentation and all that thing to extract the information. MRI has so much information in there, we can't even understand a lot of those. So it can be extracted with the help of AI-based built algorithms. On the other side, on the left side, we can get the information from telehealth, we can get the demographics, we can get the information about the molecular biology, clinical data, outcomes and whatnot, and the microRNA that we are doing in our lab. Putting it all together should be able to give us a good understanding of how to manage these things. And that's where the virtual biopsy actually comes in, where you don't have to go inside the skull and get a tissue out. You can actually just look at the MRI and say, this is this kind of tumor with this kind of molecular pattern, with this kind of response to this kind of treatment. And then liquid biopsy can also be instituted. We are a little far from that at this point, but we should be getting there. And if you can do it for brain tumor, then you can do it for breast tumor, you can do it for colorectal cancer, you can do it for pancreatic cancer. And that's the idea of bringing it all together from the LMIC perspective. This is not an updated picture, but these are some of my associates, people working together with me, and obviously Sun Tzu's book, Know Thyself, Know Thy Enemy, 1,000 Battles, 1,000 Victories. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor. That was truly enlightening. We now move on to one of the major highlights of today's event, which is the address by our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Syed Mohammad Tariq Rafi, Chairman of Sindh HEC. Professor Rafi is the founding Vice Chancellor of Jinnah Sindh Medical University and has more than 29 publications in prestigious national and international journals. He has also been invited to speak at various conferences and symposia all over the world. For his recognition of excellence in the field of education, the government of Pakistan awarded him the Civil Award Tamgha-e Imtiaz. Please join me in a round of applause for Dr. S.M. Tariq Rafi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahamdu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Shakil Saab, Dean Faculty Hussain Habib Saab, all the honorable guests and students in the faculty, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning. I am really thankful to Shakil Saab for inviting me to this very important international conference on biomedical engineering, the new trends. Being a doctor myself, I know what the significance and importance of a biomedical engineering in the support of medical is there. Unfortunately, over the years, we do not have a sufficient number of biomedical engineers because this is one of those fields which has not been given the due respect and attention that it should have. Now, many universities have started the subject of biomedical engineering, and this is one of the subjects I think which requires to be paid great attention because a number of gadgets that are being produced abroad need repair whenever they are used here. And I do remember that at JPMC, when our MRI or CT scan or at times the PET scan breaks down, they need to call the experts. When they fail to do it in Pakistan, they need to call the experts from abroad of the company that is supplied there. That takes a break of 6 to 8 weeks or even sometimes longer than that. And in hospitals, which major hospitals, especially in the government hospitals, though the public hospitals along with the private hospitals, there's so many patients waiting for their investigations to be done that any breakdown causes a long list of people who are waiting. Some of them cannot afford to go to private hospitals. The majority of them, I know myself being working at JPMC, that what the situation over there is. I think the number of MRI, CT scan done at JPMC and at Dow University probably surpass any other institution in Pakistan. So we have an opportunity here with this university and other universities also have started this very important biomedical engineering subject to train our students. There's a great demand of these students abroad. Many of these biomedical engineering students I know have gone abroad and have made a good career for themselves. But we all are fully aware that a number of our students who are very bright ones, once they pass either the medical or engineering or whatever subject they do, they look for a greener pasture, goes abroad, and unfortunately, majority of them do not come back. Athar is, I should say, I'm grateful to Athar for making it back, and I know a number of other friends of mine who have come back. But honestly, those of my friends who are there, when I talk to them, they always feel, I won't say what it is, but there's a feeling of guilt not to pay back to the country of origin what has made them what they are today. Whatever we are today is thanks to, after Allah Almighty, it's because of Pakistan that we are. And we have a number of shortcomings. If our brighter and brighter students are moving abroad, not coming back, we will not be able to overcome these problems. Things may be difficult, लेकिन हर सख्ती के बाद आसानी ज़रूर आती है। कुरान शरीफ में और इसलिए we should have a firm belief in this. So coming back to biomedical engineering, I will say that this international conference for new trends in the biomedical engineering, definitely I'm positive that the scholars who are going to read their articles, who are going to give their presentations, will definitely add to the knowledge of our participants over here. And one of the subjects that need to be given is due attention. And I will advise the conference organizers to, in the end of the conference, whatever presentations are given, are recommendations to be made to the government, to be put up, and I'd like you to put up to the Sindh Higher Education Commission that how can we be supportive in establishing these institutes in different universities in Sindh. Because I personally feel that this Department of Biomedical Engineering needs a lot of attention. So if we could be of any help, and for any research, we are providing grants. So if you need any grant for research in this field, we are always happy to do that. We are giving almost 10 crore rupees each year for different research grants, which is both for the public and the private sector universities. At the same time, we are giving almost 10 crore rupees for any conference, symposia that you are doing it both by the public and private sector universities. So hopefully the government this time, since the government is paying a lot of attention towards higher education, I hope this time the government is going to increase the budget. We have made a request. So One thing I firmly believe that if you have got a dedication, a commitment to do a certain thing, money is never a problem. There is always ways to find out how to come across. But the thing is that we need dedicated and committed people to fulfill these very important responsibilities that we have. In the end, I'd like to thank all of the organizers who have organized and called me over here. It was very, I think it was very good to listen to Athar, because being a surgeon myself, one very important thing Athar has said, that we cannot have everything from the West or from America to be copied in Pakistan. There are so many factors which are different. So we need to have things made according to our requirement. They have to be made according to our problems, which may be financial problems, genetic problems, social problems. There's so many problems. So we have to modify things. If we try to copy everything and bring it over here, that is not going to work over here. It's not only the management, it's the treatment, everything has to be modified according to our needs. Financial problems are a big thing. As you said yourself, that a number of people can't afford. They wish to get their loved one being treated, but they do not have the money to get it treated. Government hospitals, though blamed for a number of reasons, I strongly today believe that they are providing an excellent service to all those who are unable to go and afford a private hospital. If you have any time to go and visit JPMC or Dow University, you will find out the number of patients over there who are being treated for all major type of surgeries. And with the help of NGOs and the philanthropists, if any one of you have the opportunity, please visit the surgical ward which has been recently built at JPMC. It is not less than of any surgical complex anywhere in the world. The theaters over there, the wards, the facilities being provided. If you go to the radiology department, the PET scan, the MRI, the CT scan, everything is there. The gamma, the cyber knife, everything is there, and it's free of charge. Somebody is paying, but it's not the patient who is paying. So in the end, thank you very much for asking me to be here. And I am positive that the next 2 days will definitely add to the knowledge of all of those who are in biomedical engineering, and they will learn a lesson and will definitely be of use for the country in future days to come. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rafi, for sharing your wisdom with us. We will now move on to our second keynote speech of the day, for which we have an online session here for you, and that will be conducted by Professor Dr. Stephanie Willerth. I'm going to tell you a bit about her, and Professor Dr. Willerth is a full professor and the Canada Research Chair in Biomedical Engineering at the University of Victoria, Canada. She has conducted research on neural tissue engineering and 3D bioprinting, and also runs an internationally recognized research group that works on 3D printing of human tissues. Dr. Willerth is also the CEO of the biotech startup Exolittle Biosciences. Let's move on to her session, please.
Thanks for that lovely introduction. I'm going to try and share my slides, so let me know if you guys can see everything. And if we're good and all the tech is working, are we doing okay? I'm happy to talk to you guys today. First of all, thanks so much for having me here. I'm always really excited to talk about the work we're doing here at the University of Victoria, where we're engineering different types of tissue using 3D printing. And if you ever get a chance, please come visit us in Victoria. We're on the island. We are west of Vancouver, and we have a lot of different bioprinters. So please come check out our work. Just as she mentioned in the introduction, I am the CEO and co-founder of Exolittle Biosciences for terms of conflict of interest. So so this is a biomedical engineering conference, and one of the things that is an important area in biomedical engineering is tissue engineering, which combines the principles of biology and engineering to develop functional substitutes for diseased and damaged tissue. And so you can see here, this can be used to create things like artificial bladders, artificial tracheas, and something that was very, very exciting is that last summer, I believe, a group out of New York actually 3D bioprinted ears that were transplanted into people. So the field of 3D bioprinting is actually being used to make tissues that go into humans today. Well, that's not what we do with our neural tissues. I do think it is a really exciting landmark for the field and just really gives you an idea of the potential of this type of research. So why do we need neural tissue engineering? Probably everyone here knows somebody who's suffering from one of the neurodegenerative diseases, things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I also did my PhD in spinal cord injury and also traumatic brain injury. For example, for those of you, and I know that the Formula One season is starting this week, Michael Schumacher, who's possibly the greatest racing driver of all time and was compensated accordingly, suffered one of these horrible neural tissue injuries while skiing. And even with his unlimited resources, he still has not been able to really recover much function. And this really speaks to the need for neural tissue engineering, is to better understand these diseases so we can develop better treatments. And one of the reasons for this is the way we currently do drug screening is using things like animal models, which for graduate students in the audience, they can be very labor intensive, and as a researcher, they can also be very expensive, and they tend to lack predictive capabilities. You can also use human tissue slices cultured in vitro, but in terms of brain tissue and spinal cord tissue, they tend to be in very limited supply. So our solution to this is to use 3D bioprinting to generate our neural tissues. And so this is a process that's similar to traditional 3D printing, but instead of extruding a plastic filament, you actually use specialized bioinks in order to produce these tissues in specified patterns that are given in a 3D computer-aided design file. And then the idea of these bioinks is to keep the cells that are seated inside alive, so you can then culture these tissues for things like drug testing, or as I mentioned earlier, for therapeutic applications. So if you're thinking about bioprinting, there's lots of different bioprinters out there, and our lab has 6 different bioprinters. They're the moderately priced BioXs from CellInk. We also have an Aspect Biosystems printer, which is a relatively high-end one. There's even ways of modifying things like Ender 3D printers and turning them into bioprinters as well. You also have to think about your choice of cell types, as well as the bioink, which is something my company Axolotl has really focused on, is selling a novel bioink that supports stem cell growth. The structure you'll actually print, as well as if you'll incorporate growth and differentiation factors into these tissues. And so this is just one of the bioprinters we use from Aspect. And what makes it really unique is that it relies on these microfluidic printheads. So they're made out of silicon, and they have different channels. So you can switch between different types of materials or mix different types of materials. In our case, we mix a bioink with crosslinker. And you can have different cells present in different types of bioink to make really complex constructs. And the nice thing about this system is that it's really gentle on the cells. And so in that sense, it actually helps keep the stem cells alive as they don't particularly like being sent through these microfluidic devices. And you can see here, you can make these complex patterns with different types of materials shown here in the blue and the pink. So my research group has done a lot of work into making our different bioink formulations, and essentially we made a printable version of fibrin, which is when you cut yourself in a blood clot forms. That's fibrin in action. And so we've made different versions of this that were very good at keeping neural stem cells alive, and these make very stable constructs. So some of our neural tissues we've kept for up to 60 days, which is very helpful when you're trying to model diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And our bioink formulation was featured in the 2019 Methods of the Year issue of ACS Biomaterial Science and Engineering. What I'm going to briefly talk about today, in the short time we have, is about 3D bioprinting complex models of cancer. And if you want to learn more, my group has published a very detailed review on this that came out in Biomaterial Science last year. You can see it was a very collaborative effort with students coming from all different types of backgrounds, and actually a very diverse international group here if you want to learn more. So in the field of neural tissue engineering, we've been very interested in glioblastoma, which is a deadly form of brain cancer that originates from the glial cells present in the brain. It's one of the most common malignant types of tumors. And essentially the current standard of care, which hasn't changed in decades, is that you normally cut out the tumor and then treat it with radio or chemotherapy. But unfortunately, this disease almost always comes back and has a very short survival time. So just a very nasty cancer. So Chris Lee, who did his undergraduate honors in my lab, and then I've been co-supervising him for his master's and MD PhD, he was really interested to see what would happen when we used our bioink that we had used to print healthy tissue to print these cancer cells. And interestingly enough, the cancer cells really, really liked our bioink, and as you can see here, they have very high levels of viability. And we printed them into these ring structures, mainly because that's the design that came preloaded on the aspect system. It was used to mimic a trachea. For some of our other work, we've actually printed half domes to resemble brains and cylinders to resemble spinal cords. And Chris went ahead and characterized this. So interestingly, because these tumor cells were in 3D, they would actually form relatively large tumors inside of our bioink when we had printed them. And so this was quite interesting. And it's also behavior you don't observe in 2D, which is one of the reasons it's very easy to cure cancer in a 2D cell culture, as opposed to when you're actually trying to treat a tumor and you have to get these drugs into a very densely packed ball of cancer cells. Interestingly, we found when we printed the cells inside of our 3D bioink that they essentially expressed higher levels of cancer marker compared to when we grew them in 2D. So we published this model, and a company out of Montreal named Zonulev reached out to us, as they had these a class of molecules called NK-adherent antagonists that target essentially these cell adhesion molecules that are overexpressed in cancer. So just to review a little bit of biology, and you can see in the staining here, NK-adherent is what makes these cancer cells bind so tightly to each other, and it's associated with the epithelial mesenchymal transition, which means you have a very poor outcome when you have higher expression of these proteins. So targeting them enables us to potentially break up these tumors and kill them, in a sense. So the work I'm about to talk about came from a wonderful master's student named Imke Smits, who came to us from the Netherlands. And again, she printed rings. And something that she did that was really interesting here is that she took these cancer cells and she bioprinted them alongside healthy brain cells called astrocytes. And then she also let these co-culture models of cancer and healthy brain tissue grow for 16 days, which enabled, as you can see in some of these pictures, tumors to form. She also labeled the tumor cells with green fluorescent proteins so we could determine whether or not these cancer drugs were killing only the cancer cells or both the cancer cells and the tumor cells. So you can see here at day 16, when no drug had been applied, you can see these large green tumors inside of our tissue constructs alongside the healthy cells. By day 22, when we had treated with different concentrations of the drug, you can see at the higher concentrations that we actually were managing to kill off these cancer cells, which was quite exciting. And by day 30, we had had significant cell death of just the cancer cells in the groups that had received the treatment. Imke had quantified this, so if you do want to learn more, you can read the paper. And it was really interesting because a lot of these effects we only observed when we used the bioprinting to get this co-culture model of cancer cells in the presence of healthy astrocytes. It was quite exciting because we actually proved our concept that having a 3D bioprinted tissue model was able to be used as a tool for drug screening. And with our current work, we're actually looking at, we received some patient-derived glioblastoma cell lines from UCLA, and we're examining those in our co-culture model to see how they respond to this drug. And to touch on where we're going with this, one of my collaborators, Dr. Ian Manners, who unfortunately passed away in November, with his group, they have some really innovative chemistry for delivering different types of agents, including DNA and cancer drugs. And so they have these novel mysoplexes that they use to deliver both DNA as well as cancer therapeutics. And so we're actually evaluating their ability to kill cancer in our 3D tissue culture models. And we're very excited about this because you can actually track the uptake of these molecules in these 3D systems. And as the person who introduced me mentioned, I do have a company called Axolotl Biosciences. So if you're interested in learning more about our work and our BioInc, feel free to check out us on social media. I'm also happy to take any questions that you might have about the work I've talked about today. And with that, none of this work gets done without my research group and all of our funding agencies. So I'd like to express thanks to all of them and thanks to all of you for listening. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about bioprinting both healthy as well as disease models of neural tissue.
Audience, if you have any questions for Dr. Willarth, please ask them now. We're going to be circulating a mic. Does anyone have any questions for her? No questions then? Thank you then, Dr. Willarth. Thank you so much for your time and for your session. It was brilliant, truly. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I hope everyone has a wonderful time at your conference.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a riveting panel discussion on transforming education in Pakistan. And the great thing about this panel discussion is that for it, we have on board for you a number of the vice chancellors of leading universities in Pakistan. So these vice chancellors are going to be our featured panelists for this discussion, because who better to talk about education in the country than the people leading its educational institutions. Let me introduce the vice chancellors to you. First of all, we have Professor Dr. Saeed Qureshi, Vice Chancellor of Dow University of Health Sciences. He is a highly accomplished and respected figure in the field of medicine with a distinguished career in surgery and medical education. Prior to his appointment as Vice Chancellor, he served as the Meritorious Professor of Surgery and Medical Superintendent at Dr. Ruth K. M. Pao Civil Hospital, Karachi. He has made significant contributions to the field of medicine through his research, teaching, and clinical practice, and has published numerous papers in prestigious medical journals. Please welcome him. Our next panelist is Professor Dr. Johar Ali, who is the Vice Chancellor of UIT University. Dr. Johar Ali received his MS and PhD from the University of Missouri, Columbia, USA, where he trained in genomics and later worked extensively on projects that led to him making discoveries in the same. Dr. Johar Ali later joined the Ontario Institute for Cancer Research, Toronto, to develop one of the world's largest genome centers as a team leader. He has also worked as a member of the Pakistan Agricultural Research Council, where he devised policies and successfully steered the research focus toward genetics improvement, utilizing genomics and biotechnology. Please welcome him as well. Our next panelist is Professor Dr. Waliuddin, the Vice Chancellor of Sir Syed University of Engineering and Technology. With his extensive experience and expertise in the field of engineering and technology, Professor Dr. Waliuddin is dedicated to promoting academic excellence and innovation. His knowledge, expertise, and vision continue to shape the future of the fields of engineering and technology. Please applaud for him as well. Thank you. Professor Dr. Zubair A. Sheikh is our next panelist, and he is the Vice Chancellor of Muhammad Ali Jinnah University, Karachi. With an impressive background in academia and industry, Dr. Sheikh has made significant contributions to the fields of computer science and engineering. Prior to his appointment as Vice Chancellor, Professor Sheikh served as the Dean of the Faculty of Computer Science at the University of Lahore and as the Director of the Information Technology University in Lahore. He has also held several academic and research positions in renowned institutions globally, such as the University of Texas at Arlington, the University of Southern California, and the University of California. And then there is our moderator for this discussion, which is Professor Dr. Tariq Rahim Sumro, Dean of the College of Computer Science and Information Systems and Acting Rector at the Institute of Business Management, Karachi. Professor Sumro has over 28 years of experience in administration, computer programming, research, and teaching. He has made significant contributions to the field of computer science with a research focus on GIS, IDNs, distant education, e-commerce, multimedia, and many other areas. He has published over 100 peer-reviewed papers and is a senior member of IEEE and the IEEE Computer Society. Please join us, sir. And the stage is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I'm thankful to the Salim Habib University for giving us a chance to talk about education trends and other things. On behalf of the VC panel, I'm thankful to you. Our chairman HEC just left. He always, a very active person. He's always coming and encouraging all such activities. So I'm having an honor to ask a few questions from our honorable panelists. I will request them to, let's say, 3 to 4 minute answers so we can go with a number of answers. At the end, hopefully 10 to 15 minutes, we will give the audience to ask any question. So I'm focusing on two questions first. If we look at the position of the Pakistani education system, as per World Bank Human Capital Index, we are at 152nd position out of 190 countries in our quality of the education system. So, our census data, as per the census data, we are 58%, literate people. And if we look at the QS ranking for the higher education, only few universities are coming into this ranking. So what are the current challenges and what are the opportunities we can have in this education system? So I'll first go over to Professor Qureshi. Sir, please.
Well, the major problem, I think, in the schooling system, both our primary and secondary schools are nearly not really up to the mark, and this is where we need to concentrate to improve our systems. Subsequently, the undergraduate and the graduate systems, they are not too bad, but they also need improvement, and that can be done. Another major problem in this schooling system and the schooling system is the training of the teachers, and that is inadequate. Recently, the Sindh government did legalize a certification system, but this needs to be strengthened and needs to be strengthened across the country.
Dr. Johar, please.
Okay, I think he mentioned a number of points, but thank you very much. Thanks to the audience. I think education system, we have to divide it into three categories. Primary education, middle, and then higher education. So in the primary education, most of the problem starts with the rote learning. We emphasize a lot on memorization. We are not focused on skills development, rather we are focused on achieving better grades. Also, the students and the teachers and the whole community, a lack of honesty, ethics, values, these needs to be imparted. And then if we don't have that, then we have the regulators, but then there is need of a pragmatism in the system. So the lack of pragmatism then kind of put us in a very hard spot. So I think we need to bring in trained teachers. We can train the teachers, but if we don't have honesty and pragmatism, we will still be lagging behind. Dynamic curriculum system. We need to have freedom, allow the professors, allow the teacher to introduce new areas, new topics. Innovation will start when the student is learning skills or absorbing the knowledge, not memorizing it. So that's, I think I will stop at this. There will be other opportunities. Thank you.
Dr. Vali, sir, please.
As highlighted by our two of the panelists, that's the main reason that our education system from the very beginning is not according to what is required. The things which we are following in today's education systems is, I think, is deteriorating day by day. The primary education in which I think all of us has got studied, at that level the standards of the school, whether it's a government school or whether it is a private school, it was mostly the same. But now, what we look at the government schools, we see that there is a huge difference in the private sector schools, education systems, and the government sector school systems. And a lot of our, majority of people who are in Pakistan, they cannot go or afford to go to the schools, private sector schools. So this is the dilemma that most of our students are not able to get the good quality education from the very beginning. Besides that, if we look at the people we are talking about the one who are in the stream or getting the education, that has a problem. But the other area is that about, according to the estimate, about 4.5 crore students are not getting the education at this moment. We are not talking about them, how we are going to provide the education to them. So that's a big dilemma that we are not thinking about, we are just talking about people who are getting the education. We are not talking about the people who are not getting the education. And that's a huge chunk of youngsters. So these are the things, so we have to, at the different levels, we have to see how to improve the standards which are already there, and how to engage the people who are not into the education system at all. So this is some of the things which we have to discuss, and these are the challenges. Otherwise, we will going to see the youngsters who have not got any education, who will be there out in coming years for looking for the earnings or how to run their lives. And that will be a serious thing which we are going to face in coming years.
Dr. Sheikh.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, thank you very much, and I'm highly grateful of Salim Habib University and its administration in this conference, and speaking as a panelist speaker. This could be an oral communication class also, I mean, where we are talking all in English also, and at the same time assuming that our comprehensions are at a level where we can understand how complex problems can be addressed and solved. Nevertheless, I'll also continue talking in English with a sprinkling of Urdu, etc. Why do we need QS ranking to begin with? To me, QS ranking, international level ki ranking ho, bahut achhi baat hai, excellent, it is good. But our problems are different. Pakistan has a different context and a different problem. About a decade back, right in front of Professor Dr. Ataur Rahman, I once mentioned in one of the keynote talk, sir, the problem of this country is not PhDs. We never required PhDs. This is a third world country, and we are a poor country. We need teachers, first of all. We have now qualified faculty, but we don't have teachers. This is first fundamental problem which we have. Teachers who can motivate the students, teachers who can guide them, what are the career prospects out there. We don't have teachers now. We have plenty of PhDs with due apologies, I'm myself a PhD as well, with due apologies, they don't know how to connect the youngsters' minds to what industry wants, what our culture wants, what our society wants, and what are the real societal problems. That's the fundamental thing. We have a disconnect. And QS ranking and all these other things, etc., are going to make us more disconnect unless we don't develop our own ranking system to connect it with our society. That's fundamental problem. Second, it's not about the curriculum. It's not about the curriculum which is the problem. It's about how we implement the plans of studies which are out there. The plans of studies have restricted us to 3-credit-hour classroom teaching. And, you know, a teacher comes stands in front of all the students for about an hour or so, and then he delivers. He offloads his, presentations and PowerPoints right in front of the students, whereas it has to be totally different. We need to, in this generative AI age, where these students are pretty smart, these students are well smart. I know my daughter is a student at Dow, Said Qureshi Saab's institute, and she just gave her third-year MBBS exam, and with all due apologies, Said Qureshi Saab, she says we learn from YouTube lectures. She says there is a lecture room, but yes, teachers are great, but essentially our learning is a different kind of a learning. So these students learn a different way. We have to adopt a flipped classroom approach kind of a thing, where they ask questions and we are there to support them. There are many other things, but I'll just stop at this talk, that our problem is teachers are not there. Faculty is there, but teachers are not there.
Thank you, sir. Okay, a few of the important points were discussed here. The schooling system and the different schooling system, and of course, we are maybe not serving our community. This is also issue. English language, you said, medium of instruction. Why not in China and other countries? They are, developed country more than Pakistan, but they are not, adopting English as their language of instruction. So, keeping in this view, we have a small video for 4 minutes. I will request the team to play that video, and again, I'll come with the subsequent questions. Thank you, sir.
कराची में इंटरमीडिएट के तलबा के साथ जुल्म हो गया। इंटरमीडिएट के इम्तिहानात में तलबा की बड़ी तादाद फेल हो गई। नताइज के खिलाफ तलबा और वालिदैन एहतजाज करने प्रेस क्लब पहुंचे।
लोगों को लगता है कि हम पागल हैं, हम लोग सप्ली पे सप्ली देते जाएंगे, सप्ली पे सप्ली देते जाएंगे। अगर मेडिकल और इंजीनियरिंग के बच्चों के साथ ये सुलूक करा जाएगा तो मुझे नहीं लगता एज अ पर्सन कि मैं इस मुल्क के लिए कुछ अच्छा करूंगी आगे आके।
इंटरबोर्ड कराची ने फर्स्ट ईयर 2023 के प्री इंजीनियरिंग, प्री मेडिकल और जनरल साइंस के तलबा को 15% इजाफी मार्क्स देने का फैसला किया है।
KPK के बाद सिंध के तलबा के लिए भी बड़ी खबर आ गई। MD कैट पेपर लीक की इंक्वायरी रिपोर्ट मुकम्मल, इम्तिहानात दोबारा करवाने की सिफारिश कर दी गई।
95% पाकिस्तानी मुल्क की हालात के बायस बेरोजगारी के खौफ में मुब्तला हैं। 5% ने रोजगार महफूज होने का यकीन होने का कहा है। इप्सॉस पाकिस्तान ने अवाम की आरा पर मबनी नया सर्वे जारी कर दिया।
Pardon me, 450,000 Pakistanis have left the country in search of better opportunities in this year alone.
ब्यूरो ऑफ इमिग्रेशन एंड ओवरसीज एम्प्लॉयमेंट के आदादो शुमार के मुताबिक 2018 में रोजगार की तलाश में बैरून मुल्क जाने वाले काबिल पेशावर नौजवानों की तादाद 3,82,000 थी। 2019 में ये तादाद 6,25,000 तक पहुंची। 2020 में कोरोना की वबा के बायस सफरी पाबंदियों के नतीजे में इसमें कमी आई, लेकिन पाबंदियों में नरमी और खात्मे के बाद 2022 में 8,32,000 से जायद पाकिस्तानी बेहतर मौक़ों की तलाश में बैरून मुल्क चले गए और रवां साल सिर्फ मार्च तक 1,27,000 नौजवान काबिल पेशावर अफराद ने मुल्क छोड़ दिया। अरसे में जिन तालीमी याफ्ता नौजवानों ने पाकिस्तान छोड़ा, उनके पेशे को देखा जाए तो 10,000 से जायद मुसव्विर और फनकार, 8,000 से जायद अकाउंटेंट, 7,000 से जायद इंजीनियर्स, 3,000 डॉक्टर्स, 2,300 से जायद नर्सें और 90 फार्मेसी के शोबे से मुंसलिक थे।
You were born in Japan?
Yes. My mom is Japanese. I'm a final year medical student. My question is about the lack of employment opportunities in Pakistan, the brain drain, the issue of brain drain in Pakistan, where I would love to work in Pakistan.
So if this situation is right now happening with the Pakistan, we need to, one, should not take it with a negative connotation. If a nurse or a doctor or an IT expert is going out into the global supply chain of services. This is what exactly I want. I would be earning through those individuals and it would be contributing into my GDP and overall economic health. So this is not a curse.
And if you look at the higher education in Pakistan, यानी the number of people who head for graduation and postgraduate studies, वो appalling number है. यानी हमारी आबादी जो कि 70% नौजवानों पे मुश्तमिल है, यहाँ पे hardly 5 से 10% लोग पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट की तरफ जा रहे हैं. अगर हम एक मुआजना करते हैं पाकिस्तान की हायर एजुकेशन सिनेरियो का, so we are worse than sub-Saharan Africa, and that should be an eye-opener for all of us.
Thank you, team. Dr. Zubair Sheikh Saab, as you said, teaching is very important, thing. Teaching is the prophet's profession. What do you think today, currently our teachers are performing well?
देखिए, it's not, बिल्कुल, teaching is a profession जो कि अम्बिया अलैहिस्सलाम का profession है. That is no doubt about it. लेकिन अम्बिया अलैहिस्सलाम के इस प्रोफेशन से when we say it's because वो उम्मत की इस्लाह के लिए आए, ठीक है. ये एस्पेक्ट आज हमारे असातिज़ा इकराम मिस कर चुके हैं कि जो हमारे सामने बैठे हुए होते हैं ये मुल्क का फ्यूचर है, कौम के मेमार असल में ये हैं. ये जो आपने आज वीडियो दिखाई मायूसी की, ये मायूसी की वीडियो ये है कि मुझ जैसे लोग आज हम मिसाल नहीं बनते हैं इनकी इस्लाह के लिए, इनकी मेंटोरिंग के लिए. So the key aspect is that we have missed out the mentoring aspect, and that's why these youngsters look forward towards it. So mentoring is one thing. Mentoring as an institution has been missed out altogether. और आने वाले वक्तों में जिस तरह से अम्बिया अलैहिस्सलाम हमारी इखलाकी तरबियत, हमारी इस्लाही तरबियत करते थे, इसी तरीके से अम्बिया अलैहिस्सलाम ने और आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने वो निज़ाम बनाया जिसमें इकोनॉमिक्स भी है, तो पॉलिटिक्स भी है, तो सब चीज़ों का निज़ाम था. तो हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस आज जो है बहुत ही ज़्यादा पिन होल अप्रोच रखकर और नीडल अप्रोच रखकर वो देखते हैं कि बस ये तो माफ़ी के साथ जो है ये कंप्यूटर साइंस वाला हो गया, ये बायोमेडिकल हो गया, फलाना फलाना, बस इसी के अंदर हमने 130 क्रेडिट्स करवाने हैं और 70% इज़ थ्योरी पार्ट एंड द 35% इज़ द प्रैक्टिकल पार्ट, और इसी में बस रगड़ो. दैट्स वेयर द प्रॉब्लम कम्स. द प्रॉब्लम्स इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज अगर करना है तो हमें देखना पड़ेगा इन बच्चों को, हमें वो प्लान्स ऑफ स्टडीज देने पड़ेंगे. दे कैन पिक एंड चूज. समवन कुड बी इंटरेस्टेड इन कंप्यूटर एंड म्यूजिक, समवन कुड बी इंटरेस्टेड इन बायोमेडिकल एंड इस्लाम, समवन कुड बी इंटरेस्टेड इन पॉलिटिक्स एंड इकोनॉमिक्स एंड एट द सेम टाइम टेक्नोलॉजी. वी शुड प्रोवाइड देम that aspect of mentoring and that aspect of pick and choose. Yes, complete 130 credit hours. There should be double major, triple major, or major and minor concept. Some grid line should be provided and we should be guiding them. Only then innovation will come. Only then skill approach will come. Only then the practical aspects will come. But with the confinements of our existing curriculum and the structure and the plans of study, neither the mentoring nor that aspect can come. That's my point.
Thank you. Dr. Wali, in this video, we have some data that many people want to go abroad. And we have seen recently so many faculty members are leaving, quality faculty, they are going abroad because of the economic situation. How, as a Vice Chancellor, how you think, how we attract them, how we retain them?
Okay. We have seen this trend for quite a long time, and that is, if you look at the holistic point of view, what's happening is the reflection of what we are doing in our society. What's happening to our youngsters, to our professionals? Are we giving them more employment opportunities over here? Definitely our Kakar Saab has said that we are. So one way that we look at, they are going outside and they are sending us back the dollars over here. That's one aspect. But the other thing is, why people are going outside? We have seen the model, different models of different countries. China is there, India is there, which has huge populations. And if we see where we have failed. So one thing we have failed is that constantly our economy is going down. And that is the reflection why our youth want to go outside. At some point of time, you can work together, we can compromise. But for how long? We have seen this for the last 70 years. We are always thinking Pakistan is in a troubled state. Pakistan is in a troubled state. So now youth cannot buy this thing anymore. They are well connected with the world. They know what's happening in the world. Right. So the same theme we are repeating in Pakistan, but a crucial area mein hai, iske location wise ye hai.
I'm also coming on the positive side, but you're right.
So that's the one thing. So again, if our economy not going to improve, whatever you say, it's because it's all around finances. It's all about, because they have to provide their children or their family with the good future. And if they don't see that what's happening around us in the last few years, what we are seeing, what we are giving to them youth, how we can stop them.
Even sir, within the universities, musical chair is going on. 2 faculty members, University A moving to B, B to C, C to D, D to A.
So the main thing is we have to see where we are standing, and it's not just about the university. It's about university is affected by a lot of other factors. The youth are affected by a lot of other factors. We are affected by a lot of other factors.
Right.
So one thing which I will see is that unless we will going to have a stability in our country, political stability, financial stability,
hope for the
then
best. Hope
we
for,
will
hope
definitely
for, always
will
hope for the best. Thank you, sir. Dr. Johar, you talk about the curriculum also. So I'm coming to the curriculum. I mean, do you think our curriculum, especially let's talk about the higher education curriculum, is completely aligned with the international standard and aligned with our industry partners? Because always there is a cry, there is a trust problem. Whenever we meet industry people, they say, oh, your graduates are not up to the mark. We have to train them. Over to you, sir.
So the video you showed, I think I will congratulate the academia because your product has a market. So that's one point. If that many people, 0.8 million left Pakistan, why? Because they were needed by the world. So there's a market, your product that you produced has a demand. So that shows, but it doesn't mean we cannot improve. Oxford is still trying to improve, MIT is still trying to improve. So we shouldn't stop there. For industry, I think retention is your job. Policymakers, retention is your job. If you want to keep them, then you have to make a policy where these people can have a place here so they can be retained. Academia job is not retention. We have to produce, our product should have a demand anywhere. The demand can come from Africa, you go to Africa. The demand can come from Western countries, they will go to the West. What we can do is to produce more. However, a pragmatism that I spoke earlier will be required to produce more, such as we have 30 million students in primary school eligible are not in school. How do we bring them into school? Can we offer a free lunch? Can we, produce more infrastructure? Should we be improving our infrastructure? Should we be removing disparity? Should we be removing gender inequality? On higher education side, there are 16 million eligible students in Pakistan at the age of 18 to 25 or 26. Only 6 million are in the universities. Can we run the universities double shift to accommodate at least another 6 million to reduce that disparity there? So these are the things we need to consider. We need to think if we produce double the number that we are producing right now, 0.8 million can leave a year. It's okay. They can have remittances. They will look for experience. They go abroad. I went abroad, so I cannot say don't go. You gain experience and you come back and you can contribute at a higher level. So I don't see that a problem for academia, but improving the academic excellence is what we need to focus on, and we need to continue to reach higher point where we are today. And that can come from honesty, values, and training for the skills, and character. So I think if we can do it, bringing in pragmatism from regulator side will improve our level.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Saeed Qureshi, sir, you know, 30,000 plus graduates every year in medical. And as per the population ratio, one physician over 1,000 people. What are the challenges in the medical field?
Well, the challenges are multiple. And one of the most important is monetary. If you are not able to provide them enough money to support their families, that this is going to happen and people will keep on migrating out, and that's what happens. As far as my own university is concerned, Biomedical College, 90% of the graduates just go abroad. And they go abroad early in their career, not later on in the career. So this the government will have to think. Here, whatever you are, you get about 10 times or 12 times in Saudi Arabia. So obviously they opt. And recently we have had whole batches of nurses, batches of our technologists just leaving for Qatar and Kuwait and in one instance even to Malta. So that aspect has to be corrected by the government. Obviously the government also has limited resources. They don't have the money to increase the salaries. And hence we have problems. Other problems are that in the university itself, in the shortage specialties, we tend to give them higher allowances which sort of double or triple the public sector salary. So that is one way of going about it. The other thing is that in the areas out, everybody wants to work in Karachi. They don't want to go out of Karachi once they have undergone training over here. They don't want to go back to their districts. And the major reason is that you don't have a proper accommodation, you don't have proper schooling for the children. And until and unless all of these things are corrected, you will have the problem and people will keep on migrating.
Thank you, sir. I mean, if we look at the positive side, our graduates for this curriculum are being hired outside. This is the good news that we are, following the international standard. The second important point is that as per our census, almost 60% are under the age of 30. So my last quick question to all the panelists, I'll go with you first, sir. How you see future? Future is bright?
The future is reasonably bright. One should just persevere, and one should keep on educating people, training people, and increasing the number of people available. As far as movement is concerned, people nowadays, it's a global village, so people will keep on moving, and you can't stop that.
Sir, future is bright.
Future is amazing, I will say. Just comparing our IT export to Vietnam, they are half of our population, less than half. They are 97 million, and their IT export is $95 billion a year. That gap alone shows we have the capacity, and recently Sindh government has launched a program giving training for 6 months to students. As long as we are training our youngsters, there is that gap that we can cover. If we reach just the level of export as Vietnam, and we are double their population or more than double, I think we have the potential. We can export $100 billion a year with ease. Looking at the agriculture sector, There is a big gap where 1/6 of the production of the rest of the world, by bringing in biosciences, improving our seed quality, improving our animals to increase their production. So per unit production increase, there is a potential we can export whatever we have now. That is a huge export amount there. So that's why people are still lending us the money. They still think we have the potential. So the future is bright, and we need to declare an emergency and start training our youngsters for the skills, values, ethics, and honesty with pragmatism, and we can do it. Thank you.
Dr. Wali.
As pointed out, as we know, the world is changing. The way we are acting right now, why we are doing the things, it's totally going to change in coming years with the advent of technology, artificial intelligence. So it's a very good opportunity. We have a youth who has a very high IQ. And what we see, all the countries which are doing very good in this arena is based on the knowledge. So we have a youth, if we can use them properly, giving them proper education, skills, ethics. So it's a very bright future for Pakistan, but the condition is we have to give them the proper directions, we have to take the, at the different levels, we have to work together, prepare proper policies, give them proper incentives, and removing the hurdles which we face if we start anything in Pakistan. We have to remove all those hurdles so that our youth can come forward and be a productive for our future to come, for future for the Pakistan.
Absolutely bright, inshallah. I'm an optimistic person by default. So yes, very great future ahead of us. We do have to make certain things. For example, universities have to incorporate technology aspects in their learning spaces even. For example, this auditorium, it has to be an interactive auditorium. Our classrooms have to be interactive, number one. Number two, there are certain technologies which are now part of our life. AI, for example, generative AI and all that. And at the same time, the future is going to be of AI-based mentors and the teachers. Virtual teachers are going to come. We need to work on that now. Otherwise, what will happen is this, that we will be having virtual teachers of West or others. Then we should not be complaining about their knowledge or their aspects of ethics and their aspects of social values coming in. So we need to work on it now. Second thing. Third thing is this, that there are certain disruptive technologies which are out there. I learned a lot from Dr. Saab when he started about talking about AI and virtual biopsy and all these kinds of things. And at the same time, 3D printing is one of those disruptive technologies. IoTs and sensors is going to be the next wave. We need to work on it now. May those be even social scientists or political scientists. Without sensors, etc., we won't be working. Already the results of these elections and the Trump's elections have told us that social engineering is something which is another wave. Likewise, such things are going to come. We need to capitalize on these kinds of things, and we should start teaching these, because these youngsters' minds are not the way functioning. These Gen Z is not what we people were of 60s and 70s and 50s and 80s. Gen Z has a different mindset. Their brain style of working is totally different. So we need to work on it now, and that's where we have to think. Future is very bright. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So let's move to the Generation Z. Any question from the audience, please? Mike, please.
First of all, Assalamu alaikum to everyone. And thank you so much for all the wisdom that you guys have given, and it's really wonderful hearing from all of them. Sir, one underlying issue, what I feel being a student, is corruption. Really, this is one of the issues that is a poison to the society. I was a pre-medical student. I was really being enthusiastic about being a doctor. But the way the MDCAT was held, and the first time it was cancelled, and the second time again it was not up to the mark. After even achieving 90% in my intermediate, being a student of federal board, I still do not see where I wanted to still see myself. I opted for BME now because I see a future in it. The youth is so brain drained right now that they are just looking for an opportunity to go out of the country to see where they are valued, where skills are valued. I still remember seeing a lot of my fellows who were very enthusiastic about being in some careers, but they were not because, you know, I don't want to get controversial here. So there were many things, unfair means that were being used. That is one of the poison of the society, and corruption. Corruption is the thing that is a thing that needs to be addressed. Because of that, it is a root problem that is creating so many more problems that we are seeing. I think if we target the corruption and we become more honest for ourselves, I would like to please hear the thoughts on this fact that if we target corruption, we can finish so many of the problems that are right now we're seeing in the society.
Thank you. Anyone want to answer? I would request just to stick on the question. We can talk about your comments and later on, but okay, thank you. Please.
Thank you. That's a very good comment and a very good question. Corruption or honesty, which one should come first, or which one should go away first? Right? If you have honesty, I don't think there will be corruption. The main point for you is what you can do, what I can do. You and I can become honest. Even the mafia has a need for an honest and skilled accountant. Correct? They have a space for an honest and skilled surgeon, right? If they get sick. So there will be room. Yes, maybe you can say 90%, 95% will say no to you because you are not corrupt. But all you need is one yes. So the one yes comes from the 5%, the remaining. So you focus on that. The young generation can focus on that. The 0.8 million leaving this country, they have proven themselves capable to compete at a global stage. So if they can do it, then the rest of us can do it too, right? So for you, what we can bring in a change, what I can do, I need to change. What you can do, you need to change. So because we are not implementing it across the country. So one individual change, one drop at a time can bring a flood or can make the ocean, right? So that's what we need to do. My suggestion, I know this is not probably going well because you're probably expecting that we will change the whole country. But if one person change, then the rest of us will change and the country will get fixed. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Moni Siddiqui. I am the Honorary Secretary at IEEE Institution of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, Pakistan. And I don't see any foreign faces, and I guess everyone can understand Urdu. So I prefer to give my comments in Urdu so that everybody can understand और मैं ज़रा दिल की बात कह सकूँ. तारिक भाई, थैंक यू वेरी मच. बहुत अच्छे तरीके से आपने सेशन कंडक्ट किया. मेरे दो कमेंट्स हैं. एक तो ये कि जो हमारे पैनल डिस्कशंस हैं, ये माशाल्लाह वीसीज़ हैं, अपनी अपनी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के करता धरता हैं. तो हमने वहाँ बैठ के सारी प्रॉब्लम्स की बात की. आई कैन एश्योर यू कि यहाँ जितने लोग बैठे हैं ना, सबको ये प्रॉब्लम्स पता है. आपसे हम ये एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि आप ये बताएं कि इन प्रॉब्लम्स को एड्रेस करने के लिए अपनी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में आप क्या कर रहे हैं, नंबर एक. दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि एक टॉपिक के ऊपर बिल्कुल बात नहीं हुई, जो मैं समझता हूँ कि हमारे यहाँ बड़ा इशू है कि इंडस्ट्री और एकेडमिया के दरमियान बड़ा फुकदान है कोऑर्डिनेशन का. इंडस्ट्रीज़ जो पढ़ा रही हैं, जिस तरह से पढ़ा रही हैं, जब बच्चा पास आउट होकर इंडस्ट्री में आता है, इंडस्ट्री को उसकी कोई ज़रूरत नहीं होती जो वहाँ पे वो 40 सब्जेक्ट पढ़ के आया है. और जो इंडस्ट्री में हो रहा होता है वो यूनिवर्सिटी को पता नहीं कि हमें किस चीज़ की ज़रूरत है. डॉक्टर साहब ने, इनाम साहब ने बड़ी अच्छी प्रेजेंटेशन दी. उन्होंने बताया है कि जी ब्रेन सर्जरी में ये इलेक्ट्रोड्स होते हैं जो 40-50 हज़ार रुपये का इलेक्ट्रोड होता है और बहुत आराम से पाकिस्तान में बन सकता है. तो मेरा ये सवाल है कि क्या हमारी इंजीनियरिंग यूनिवर्सिटीज़ को इस चीज़ का नहीं पता, और अगर नहीं पता तो ये किसका, इसके अंदर ये किसकी कोताही है और अब इसके ऊपर क्या काम हो रहा है. तो ये दो मेरे पॉइंट्स हैं कि जो इंडस्ट्री और एकेडमिया का फुकदान है उसके ऊपर जो हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी के वाइस चांसलर हैं वो काम करें. अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी के जो और एक डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं जो PhD प्रोफेसर्स हैं उनको ऐसे कमर्शलाइज प्रोजेक्ट दें जिससे पाकिस्तान के लोकल प्रॉब्लम्स रिजॉल्व हो सके. जज़ाकल्लाह.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू. अच्छा, मेरे ख्याल में आप थोड़ा लेट आए. क्वेश्चन ये मैंने पूछा था, लेकिन उस पर मेरे ख्याल में सेकंड क्वेश्चन जो इंडस्ट्री वाला है वो हसन हबीब साहब कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हैं आप प्लीज. एंड आई गो विद द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन.
जी सर, थैंक यू. माई सेल्फ डॉक्टर हुसैन, आई एम एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर एजुकेशन मार्केटिंग HR एंड एडमिन. तो इंडस्ट्री एकेडमिया के लिए हम यहाँ सलीम हबीब यूनिवर्सिटी एक जीती जागती मिसाल है, because we belong to the pharmaceuticals and we belong to the university. I have worked 20 years in the pharmaceutical industry, worked as the Director Marketing, Business Development, Medical and Regulatory Affairs, and for the last 4 years I am working as Executive Director Education here. So what we are doing, we are creating a gap. ये जो gap है इसको हम कम कर रहे हैं और यही इसका मकसद है. ज़ीशान साहब जिस टारगेट पे इस वक्त काम कर रहे हैं, डीन बायोमेडिकल इंजीनियरिंग, हमने इनसे कहा है कि हम यहाँ से कोई भी ऐसी डिवाइसेस बनाएं जो पाकिस्तान को हम दें. अभी जब इंटरव्यूज़ लिया है तो हमारी ख्वाहिश, हमारा विज़न ये है पाकिस्तान को फ़ॉरेन रिज़र्व कमा कर दें, हम यहाँ से एक्सपोर्ट करके दें. तो ये इसी पे हम काम कर रहे हैं और ये माशाल्लाह से जितने भी VCs वाइस चांसलर्स यहाँ हैं, आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू ऑल ऑफ़ यू. आप लोगों ने ये टाइम दिया है और मेरा ख़्याल है हर इंडस्ट्री के अंदर भी और हर एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशन के अंदर भी ये सेशंस भी हो रहे हैं और बाकायदा इंडस्ट्री उनके साथ मिलके काम कर रही है. क्योंकि 18 साल मैंने वहाँ काम किया और 4 साल मैं यहाँ देख रहा हूँ. तो ये गैप है, ये इतना बड़ा गैप है कि आज दुनिया में भी अगर आप कहीं बात करेंगे तो वो लोग भी यही बात कर रहे हैं. तो ये गैप कम हो रहा है, माशाल्लाह से हम सब साथ हैं और इंशाल्लाह आने वाले दिनों में वी विल रिमेन पॉजिटिव. इंशाल्लाह ये बहुत हद तक बेहतर होगा. थैंक यू सर.
थैंक यू. अच्छा, आपका जो पहला सवाल है उसका जवाब क्या है? जब हम मेडिकल डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं पहले सिम्टम्स बताते हैं कि प्रॉब्लम है क्या, उसके बाद सॉल्यूशन. तो माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन वाज चैलेंजेस एंड माय लास्ट क्वेश्चन वाज द होपफुलनेस ऑफ द फ्यूचर. सो वी कवर बोथ. लास्ट क्वेश्चन मे बी प्लीज सर, लास्ट क्वेश्चन बिकॉज टाइम रिस्ट्रिक्शंस आर देयर.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Naveed Ansari. I am a fellow at the Institution of Electrical and Electronics Engineers of Pakistan. Wonderful discussion, wonderful oversight. But one thing that we need to remember is we are a third world country. We are a third world country, we have our own issues. हम यहाँ बात करते हैं एक्सपोर्ट की, ब्रेन ड्रेन की, लेकिन the ground realities are that we have to first try to substitute imports. We are talking about exports. भाई जब यहाँ चीज़ें आ रही हैं, अब वो फॉरेन एक्सचेंज बचाएं, जो चीज़ें यहाँ बन सकती हैं उनको बनाने की कोशिश करें ना पहले. उसके बाद then you go to the level where you have accreditations and the quality that you can export. We are always talking about industry 4.0 technologies. We need to export everything. How can you do that? You're not able to make basic things for yourself in the country and you're talking about exporting. That's not possible. मेरा सवाल तो आप VC हजरात से ये है कि आप ये बताइए कि कितने इंडस्ट्री के लोग हैं जो आपकी यूनिवर्सिटियों में आके पढ़ा रहे हैं. ये बताइए. अमेरिका में जब मैं पढ़ा करता था तो हमारे पास कई ऐसे professors थे who were working or had businesses or entrepreneurs, and they used to come and teach us. And we used to learn practical things from them. आज कितनी इंटरेक्शन हो रही है आपकी? मेरा नहीं ख्याल कि आपके यहाँ एक्चुअली इंडस्ट्री से प्रैक्टिसिंग इंजीनियर्स आके पढ़ाते हैं या इंटरेक्शन होती है. एंड वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इंडस्ट्री एकेडेमिया लिंकेजेस. व्हाट सॉर्ट ऑफ लिंकेजेस डू वी हैव? हम सिर्फ दिस इज पर से वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इट बट वी आर नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग. तो माय क्वेश्चन इज टू यू कि हाउ मैनी ऑफ पीपल फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री are in your universities, or they talk to you, or you interact with them on a regular basis to find out what the industry wants. So वो हम export तो कर रहे हैं, brain drain कर रहे हैं, लोग भेज रहे हैं, लेकिन हम अपनी industry में absorb क्यों नहीं करवा पा रहे?
Sir, very valid question. I mean, as far as I will say, I'm representing one university, so our 80% visiting faculty are from the industry, and we are getting very good, feedback from them. And our, hiring, our, internship is because of those people who are coming from industry. So industry, academia, there's always a big, debate is going on. So over to you, sir. You want to add something? Please.
मैं 4 एग्जाम्पल्स आपके सामने दूंगा. मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना यूनिवर्सिटी पे मैंने कुछ चीज़ें की हैं. आई एम एन इंजीनियर and at the same time I'm a computer scientist and a technologist also. Number 1, पहली चीज़ हमने इंट्रोड्यूस की हुई है एक प्रैक्टिकम का कोर्स, 6 क्रेडिट आवर का कोर्स है जिसमें स्टूडेंट्स इवन हमारे बायोलॉजी के, बायो साइंस के स्टूडेंट्स, बायोटेक्नोलॉजी के, इवन मैनेजमेंट साइंस के, फाइनेंस के, कंप्यूटिंग के, ये जाते हैं इंडस्ट्री में जाकर काम करते हैं 6 क्रेडिट आवर का। ये इंटर्नशिप नहीं है, ये 6 क्रेडिट आवर का बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट है जिस पर उनको काम करना होता है और वो काम करके वापस आते हैं और उसके साथ एक इंडस्ट्री का बंदा और हमारा एकेडमिशियन वो इसके साथ कनेक्टेड होता है। सैटरडेज़ के दिन उसकी प्रेजेंटेशंस होती हैं, उनके बाकायदा हम जाकर करते हैं, पहला काम। दूसरा काम, 30% ऑफ द फैकल्टी मेंबर्स आर कमिंग फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री, 30% ऑफ दैम। नंबर 3, जो तीसरा काम किया है वो हमने ये किया है कि अपने, और वो 30% किस तरीके से होते हैं कि हमारा 3 घंटे की क्लास है तो उसमें कम से कम 1.5 घंटा या 1 घंटा इंडस्ट्री वाला और 2 घंटे थ्योरी वाला पढ़ाता है। इस तरीके से हमने इंडस्ट्री को हर कोर्स के साथ स्प्रिंकल करने की कोशिश की है। इवन इफ इट कम्स टू एन इंग्लिश कम्युनिकेशन का कोर्स, वहाँ पर भी एक कम्युनिकेशन, इस बिजनेस कम्युनिकेशन का स्पेशलिस्ट आएगा, वो बताएगा कि इंग्लिश या दूसरी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स किस तरीके से होनी चाहिए। ये तो हुआ तीसरा। मैंने अपनी फैकल्टी पे पाबंद किया हुआ है कि कितने सारी चीज़ें जो कि हम एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं। मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ सोयाबीन ऑयल का, जो कि सोयाबीन से निकलता है, वो उसके बदीन की तरफ जो है फ्लावर्स वगैरह है, उसके साथ उसको जो है इंपोर्ट करके उसको ट्रांसपोर्ट करके उसको तेल बनाया जाता है। वी आइडेंटिफाइड उसकी जो है लाइफ कितनी होती है, तो हमने शेल्फ लाइफ के साथ बैठकर सप्लाई चेन वालों को लगाया, हमने अपने बायो वालों को लगाया, हमने इंजीनियर्स को लगाया, हमने कहा कि सब मिल बैठकर सोल्यूशन निकालो। सोल्यूशन कभी एक स्पेसिफिक टेक्नोलॉजी का नहीं होता है, मल्टीपल फेजेस से निकलते हैं। इसी तरीके से पाकिस्तान कस्टम्स की इतनी सारी एक्सपोर्ट की है जो कि केमिकल्स की और सब की है, वो 2500 से ज़्यादा केमिकल्स है जो हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं। कौन से हैं जो कि हम इधर पाकिस्तान में ऐसे हैं जो कि हम जनरेट कर सकते हैं। सो वी स्टडी ऑन दीज काइंड्स ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट्स कि हम किस तरीके से इंपोर्ट बिल के बजाय हम किस तरीके से कर रहे हैं। 4th, रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग। हमने काफ़ी चीज़ें, मैं मानता हूँ पाकिस्तान के मसले अपनी जगह पर हैं, इंटेलेक्चुअल चीज़ अपनी जगह पर। 4th चीज़ जो हम लोगों ने की है वो ये कि रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल को हो या इलेक्ट्रिक बाइक कहें या बैटरीज कहें, हमने उनको बोला कि खोलो और इसमें इनोवेशन निकाल कर आओ। इलेक्ट्रिक बाइक जो कि इस वक्त जो है चाइनीज़ की जो इलेक्ट्रिक बाइक है 60 किलोमीटर पे एक चार्जिंग पे चलती है, हमने उसको 110 किलोमीटर की चार्जिंग तक लेकर आ गए। इनोवेटिव थिंग थ्रू रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग। सो रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग को हम कर रहे हैं। ये 4 एग्जाम्पल्स मैंने बताए हैं अपनी मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना यूनिवर्सिटी के।
थैंक यू सर। डॉक्टर जौहर 2 मिनट प्लीज, 2 मिनट।
थैंक यू, आपने बड़ा अच्छा पॉइंट रेज किया कि इंडस्ट्री के साथ। मेरे पहले साल ऑफ वाइस चांसलर आई विजिटेड 80 इंडस्ट्री एंड मेट देयर लीडर्स। शायद आपसे मुलाकात नहीं हुई होगी, मैं जिन से हो सका था। सिस्टम लिमिटेड, दे कम एंड टीच एट आवर कैंपस और हमसे चार्ज भी नहीं करते, वो प्रोफेसर इन प्रैक्टिस। टू बी ऑनेस्ट, वी आर नॉन फॉर प्रॉफिट, वो आके पढ़ा रहे थे, हमारी भी उनसे करिकुलम। वी हैव एन इंडस्ट्री बोर्ड फॉर एवरी सिंगल डिपार्टमेंट एंड वो उसको देखते हैं, इंडस्ट्री बोर्ड भी उसको देखती है, इंडस्ट्री को लोग भी देखते हैं, उनके लीडर्स भी देखते हैं, उनकी जो रिक्वायरमेंट है उसके मुताबिक वो उसको बदलते रहते हैं। बिफोर एवरी सेमेस्टर हम ये कर रहे हैं। वी आल्सो वेलकम अदर इंडस्ट्री। डॉक्टर फरहान इधर बैठे हुए हैं, मैं काफ़ी ज़माने से इसको कह रहा हूँ हमारे यहाँ आ जाओ स्टूडेंट्स को कुछ बोल दो, 2-3 लफ्ज़, ये भी हम करते रहते हैं। मुतवातर क्लास से आउटसाइड हम लेक्चर सीरीज़ हमारा होता है एवरी वीक, अगर नहीं भी हो सकता तो एवरी अदर वीक वी इनवाइट इंडस्ट्री टू कम एंड टॉक टू आवर स्टूडेंट्स। सब्स्टिट्यूट जो है, इम्पोर्ट सब्स्टिट्यूट, आई थिंक वी कैन डू बोथ। इंडस्ट्री सब्स्टिट्यूट के लिए तो मैंने गवर्नमेंट को पूरी लिस्ट दी हुई है। जो इम्पोर्ट बड़े बड़े टिकट आइटम है वो मैंने मंगवाए उधर से, मैं मिनिस्ट्री में काम करता था उस वक्त। तो आपका सोयाबीन सबसे बड़ा सब्स्टिट्यूट है एंड आई इलूडेड टू एग्रीकल्चर। इसीलिए दाल आपका नेक्स्ट है, एडिबल ऑयल है आपका। इन सारी चीज़ों को हमने प्लान भी बना के दिया हुआ है एंड दे आर वर्किंग ऑन इट। लेकिन आईटी का एक्सपोर्ट आई थिंक इज़ पॉसिबल, हम दोनों साइड बाय साइड कर सकते हैं। इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ कि वाई शुड वी जस्ट लिमिट टू वन, वाई नॉट एक्सप्लोर दी अदर साइड। हमारा इस वक्त 3 बिलियन का एक्सपोर्ट है आईटी का। हमारे यंगस्टर दे आर ओवर 60% ऑफ आवर पॉपुलेशन। تو یہی جو میں نے ابھی بات بھی کی تھی کہ سندھ گورنمنٹ از ٹریننگ دیم, تو ان کو جب ایک اسکل بھی آپ دو گے, یو کین اچیو ویتنام لیول ایکسپورٹ, تو آپ کا پورا قرضہ ایک سال میں پیڈ آف. تو میرے خیال میں اس کا بھی دیکھیں, امپورٹ سبسٹیٹیوٹ کو بھی دیکھیں, لیکن اس کو بھی دیکھیں کہ ایکسپورٹ کیا ہو سکتا ہے. آئی ٹی ایکسپورٹ ڈزنٹ کاسٹ یو مچ. اگر آپ آم بیچتے ہو نا تو اس میں آپ تھوڑا سا پانی بھی بیچ رہے ہو اپنا. اگر آپ رائس بیچ رہے ہو نا تو آپ اپنے آرگینک میٹر پلس اور چیزیں بھی, تو اٹس اوکے, اٹس اے گلوبل ولیج. ہم کریں گے اور کرنا چاہیے. اگر ہم 1/6 آف دا پاپولیشن جو اس وقت ہمارا پر یونٹ پروڈکشن ہے دنیا سے, تو اف وی ڈبل اٹ وی کین ایکسپورٹ دا ریسٹ. تو جتنا آپ کا ہو رہا ہے وہ آپ ایکسپورٹ کر سکتے ہو, سبسٹیٹیوٹ بھی ہو سکتا ہے ان ایڈیشنل ایکسپورٹ. ان انڈسٹری وی ویلکم یو ٹو کم and talk to us if we have not met you yet. Thank you.
And we may have a maybe further discussion over the lunch, over that cup of tea. On behalf of the organizing committee, I am thankful to Dr. Qureshi, Dr. Johar, Dr. Wali, Dr. Zubair. Thank you very much. I am ending this session formally. Thank you. Over to the team.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time and your wisdom. I'm sure the audience has taken a lot of insights from it and will be better off for the future. I now take immense honor in announcing our guest of honor for this auspicious occasion, which is Dr. Farhan Isa Abdullah. Professor Dr. Farhan Isa is president of Pakistan-US Alumni Network, as well as being the CEO of Dr. Isa Laboratory and Diagnostic Centers. He has a lot of feathers in his cap, including being a board member of the Saman-e-Shifa Foundation, a Senate member of Dawood Engineering University of Science and Technology, a governing board member of Karachi Dental and Medical College, a governing board member of Bakai Medical University, and recently, Pakistan Navy has awarded him Honorary Surgeon Commander for his services to the country. Let's have a huge round of applause for Dr. Farhan Isa, please. His leadership exemplifies a commitment to advancing healthcare, academia, and societal well-being. Please welcome him.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Galaxy of people here, and especially vice chancellors, my teacher, Professor Saeed Qureshi, and my dear friend Athar Inam. بہت اچھی پریزنٹیشن تھی, بہت اچھے کویشچنز ہوئے. میں صرف آئی تھنک کہ کافی ڈیلیبریشنز ہو گئی ہیں. میں 2-3 چیزیں بتاتا چلوں کہ بہت اچھا آپ لوگوں نے پوائنٹ ریز کیا ہے, اور اس کے چکر میں ہم نے ایک آرگنائزیشن بنائی ہے لیڈ بائی پروفیسر ڈاکٹر شاہد نور, جس کا نام ہے سمان-e-شفا فاؤنڈیشن. اور اس وقت ہمارے 22 پروڈکٹس جو ہیں وہ ڈریپ میں اپروول کے لیے گئے ہوئے ہیں, اور ہوپ فلی اس سال وہ ہو جائیں گے. اور اس کا بیسکلی اسٹرکچر یہ ہے کہ ہمارا تھرمومیٹر, اگرینگ وتھ یور پوائنٹ کہ تھرمومیٹر, گلوکومیٹر, بلڈ پریشر اپیریٹس, یہ ساری چیزیں جو ہیں وہ امپورٹ ہوتی ہیں, اور تقریباً $1 بلین سے زیادہ جو ہے وہ ہمارا خرچہ ہوتا ہے. آج کی جو کانفرنس ہے, میں سلیم حبیب یونیورسٹی کو مبارکباد دوں گا, یہ بہت ہی پرٹیننٹ ہے, اور آپ نے گیلیکسی آف سٹارز بلائے ہوئے ہیں, ایکسپرٹ سامنے بھی بیٹھے ہیں. تو اب ہم یہ چاہتے ہیں کہ, اور دنیا میں $800 بلین کی اس وقت میڈیکل ڈیوائسز کی نیڈ ہے, اور پاکستان گلوبل میڈیکل ڈیوائس مینوفیکچرنگ ہب کر کے پرووائڈر بن سکتا ہے, اور بالکل 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 انڈسٹری اکیڈمیا لنکیجز ہونا بہت زیادہ ضروری ہیں. اور اس کے لیے ہم نے کانسیپٹ ریز کیا ہے, وہ ہے فرام آئیڈیا ٹو انوائس. تو پی ایچ ڈی کمرشلائز طریقے سے کرانی چاہیے, اور ایسی چیز کرانی چاہیے جو بک سکے. اگر ہم ایسی چیز پہ پی ایچ ڈی کرائیں کہ مکھی کے کتنے بال ہوتے ہیں اور کون سی جین کی وجہ سے وہ رائٹ کی طرف جا رہے ہیں یا لیفٹ کی طرف جا رہے ہیں, تو پرابیبلی وہ تھیوریٹیکل نالج بہت اچھی ہوگی, لیکن اس سے کوئی کمرشل ویلیو نہیں ہوگی. سو میں اگری کروں گا جو کویشچنس پوچھے گئے، اینڈ آئی تھنک سلیم حبیب یونیورسٹی اس کے اوپر ضرور کوشش کر رہی ہے، اور آئی تھنک آج کی ڈیلیبریشنز جو ہیں وہ اس کو آگے لے کے جا رہی ہیں. دوسری چیز میں ضرور یہ کہتا چلوں گا کہ انٹرپرینیورشپ بچوں کو بالکل ڈسکریج نہیں ہونا چاہیے. ہر ایک آپ کو ڈسکریج کرے گا، اگر آپ باہر جائیں گے تو بھی ڈسکریج کرے گا. ایسا نہیں ہے کہ کہتے ہیں نا گراس لکس آلویز گرینر آن دا ادر سائڈ. تو آپ کو یہیں پہ اتنے مواقع ہیں. میں آپ کو ایک ایکسپیرینس سے بتاتا چلا جاؤں کہ پاکستان سے اچھی جگہ نہیں ہے رہنے کے لیے اور کام کرنے کے لیے. میں بھی باہر جانے کی مجھے اپارچونٹی ملی، میں رہا بھی، لیکن یہ میں بتاتا چلوں کہ اور ابھی پاکستان کے حالات بہت بہتر ہونے والے ہیں اور ہونا شروع ہو چکے ہیں. میں پریوی ہوں ان ساری چیزوں سے. 2 میری سلائیڈز تھیں بہت زیادہ. ایک میں میرے پاس آج کل مجھے بھی US اسٹیٹ ڈپارٹمنٹ نے اسکالرشپ پہ بھیجا تھا اور مجھے ہارورڈ جانے کی موقع ملا 4 سال کے لیے. اور امریکہ کی US اسٹیٹ فنڈڈ بہت زیادہ اسکالرشپس آتی ہیں، وہ ہم لوگ جیسی عمر کے لوگوں کے لیے بھی ہیں اور جونیئرس کے لیے بھی اور سینئرس کے لیے بھی. آج انفارچونیٹلی یا فارچونیٹلی آج یہ لاسٹ ڈے ہے فل برائٹ اپلیکیشن کا، 28 کا امریکن ٹائم کے حساب سے. تو ابھی بھی ٹائم ہے. فل برائٹ اسکالرشپ آئی ہوئی ہے، اور دوسری یہ ہیوبرٹ ہمفری اسکالرشپ بھی آئی ہوئی ہے جس کے پاس ابھی کافی ٹائم ہے، نظر نہیں آ رہا سلائیڈز میں. US اسٹیٹ ڈپارٹمنٹ تقریباً 39 ٹائپس کی اسکالرشپ دیتا ہے. وہ میوزک میں بھی دیتا ہے، سائنس میں بھی دیتا ہے، پروفیشنل گروتھ کے لیے بھی دیتا ہے، اور بہت زیادہ چیزیں اویلیبل ہیں. IVLP دیتا ہے 1 ہفتے 2 ہفتے، مہینہ 3 مہینہ، سال 4 سال 5 سال. میں آپ کو اپنی فیملی کا بتاتا جاؤں کہ میرے فادر فل برائٹ اسکالر تھے اور وہ ڈیوکس پہ پڑھنے کے لیے US گئے تھے PhD کے لیے. پڑھا کے باہر 15-20 سال کام کر کے پاکستان واپس آئے. میری والدہ ہوائی گئی تھیں ماسٹرز کرنے، وہ ایسٹ ویسٹ سینٹر گرانٹی تھیں. تو میں یہاں پہ جتنے لوگ بیٹھے انکلوڈنگ فیکلٹی، میں ایز اے فیکلٹی ممبر گیا تھا جب میں ڈاؤ یونیورسٹی میں اسسٹنٹ پروفیسر تھا، اور میں 4 سال کے لیے مجھے اپارچونیٹی ملی ہارورڈ یونیورسٹی جانے کے لیے. اور اس کا فائدہ یہ ہوا کہ جب ہم واپس آئے پاکستان تو جب 5 کور ایکسپو سینٹر پہ کووڈ سینٹر اسٹیبلش کر رہا تھا تو ہمیں انوائٹ کیا گیا، مجھے انوائٹ کیا گیا، اور ہم نے وہاں پہ انفیکشن کنٹرول پروٹوکالز اور پالیسیز بنائیں. اور سر آپ کو بتاؤں رفیع صاحب کہ 1 ڈاکٹر 1 نرس 1 پیرامیڈیکل سٹاف، میں جو ہم لوگ 4 مہینے ٹینٹ اس میں رہ رہے تھے کنٹینرز میں، 1.5-2 سال ہم نے کام کیا، ایک کو بھی کووڈ نہیں ہوا الحمدللہ، وچ از اے ورلڈ ریکارڈ. تو یہ بہت ایسی اپارچونیٹیز. اور بائیو انجینئرنگ تو ابھی بہت امپورٹنٹ ہو گئی ہے. تو بائیو انجینئرنگ اکیلے نہیں، پلاسٹک مینوفیکچرنگ، الیکٹریکل انجینئرنگ، میڈیکل فریٹرنیٹی، اس وقت وینٹ بن گئے ہیں پاکستان میں، اس وقت اسٹینٹس ہارٹ کے بن گئے ہیں، اور گلوکومیٹرز بھی بن گئے ہیں، اور روبوٹ بنے ہیں جو کہ ڈفرینٹلی ایبل بچوں کو سپورٹ کر رہے ہیں. تو یہاں پہ میں ختم کروں گا. میں کہتا ہوں یہ بہت اچھا ہے کہ بالکل انڈسٹری کے لوگوں سے ہی کریکولم بلکہ بنانا چاہیے. کریکولم ٹیچرز زیادہ تر جو پڑھا رہے ہیں انہوں نے کوئی فیلڈ میں کافی جگہوں پہ کام ہی نہیں کیا آج تک. تو بالکل، اور جو آپ جیسی جو ایسوسیشنز ہیں ان کو انوالو کرنا چاہیے. آئی تھنک بہت اچھی، بہت ہی زبردست کوشش تھی آج سلیم حبیب یونیورسٹی کی، پائنیئر کوشش تھی، اور میں ان کو مبارکباد دیتا ہوں. اگر سب مل کے چلیں گے تو ہم پاکستان کو سکسیس پہ لے کے جا سکتے ہیں. جیسے کہ شعر ہے کہ منزلوں کی بات چھوڑو کس نے پائیں منزلیں، منزلوں کی بات چھوڑو کس نے پائیں منزلیں، ایک سفر اچھا لگا ایک ہم سفر اچھا لگا. سو کانفرنس زندہ باد، پاکستان پائندہ باد. تھینک یو.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farhan Isa. It's always an honor hearing from you. I'd now like to invite Mr. Samiullah Sami, Managing Director of Study in Pakistan and Education Scenario International, to please address the audience. Let's have a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum ji. Thank you very much for providing this opportunity to address such a great gathering over here. اردو میں بات کرنا چاہوں گا، جس طرح میرے ساتھی نے کہا کہ کیونکہ فارنر یہاں پہ کوئی نہیں ہے. میرا ایجوکیشن سیکٹر سے تعلق ہے جی 2001 سے، اور میں الحمدللہ کوئی 20 سے زیادہ کنٹریز کے ساتھ ایز اے ایڈوائزر کام کر چکا ہوں ہائر ایجوکیشن پہ. اور ابھی جو ہے وہ مجھ سے پہلے جو साथी आए उन्होंने बात की फुल ब्राइट स्कॉलरशिप की। तो USEF पे, जिसको यूनाइटेड स्टेट एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन कहते हैं, इनकी पाकिस्तान में लॉन्चिंग जो है वो एजुकेशन सिनेरियो ने कराई और आई वाज द एडवाइज़र। फुल ब्राइट स्कॉलरशिप से लेके शिवनिंग स्कॉलरशिप जो ब्रिटिश काउंसिल का है, ब्रिटिश काउंसिल का एजुकेशन सेक्टर जब जो है वो डेवलप हुआ तो वी आर द पायनियर के जिन्होंने पाकिस्तान में इंट्रोड्यूस करवाया। तो 20 से ज़्यादा कंट्रीज़ की स्टडी डेस्टिनेशन को हम प्रमोट कर चुके हैं। हमें सिर्फ ये था कि हमने पाकिस्तान के लिए क्या किया। तो इस पे फिर जो है वो हमने हायर एजुकेशन मिनिस्ट्री से और HEC से बात की कि जो पाकिस्तानी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, अभी बहुत सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं जो एक रैंकिंग में आई हैं और उनको भी जो है वो हमें ग्लोबलाइजेशन की तरफ लेके जाना चाहिए। तो वाई नॉट स्टडी इन पाकिस्तान, वाई नॉट हम पाकिस्तानी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ पे इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स, ओवरसीज स्टूडेंट्स को जो है वो अट्रैक्ट करें, हम इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन की तरफ जाएं। जब तक हम जो है वो लोकल लेवल पे हम ये समझेंगे कि हमने ग्रेजुएट पैदा करने हैं जो पाकिस्तानी मार्केट में जो है वो काम करेंगे, तो हम ग्लोबली कम्पीट नहीं कर सकते। हमें जो है वो ग्लोबल सिटीज़न जो है वो जो है वो प्रोड्यूस करने हैं। वो सारी एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल्स से लेके एथिक्स, जिसकी डॉक्टर साहब ने भी बात की, वो प्रोवाइड करनी है कि जो वो ग्लोबली जो है वो कम्पीट कर सके। तो इसीलिए जो है वो अभी पाकिस्तानी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के लिए हम ये करने जा रहे हैं कि इंटरनेशनली 25 कंट्रीज़ के साथ हम उनका जो है वो इंटरेक्शन करवा रहे हैं। और पहला इंटरेक्शन हमने मलेशियन एजुकेशन मिनिस्ट्री को इनवाइट किया है, जो 2nd और 3rd को जहाँ पाकिस्तान में होंगे, और उसके साथ जो है वो 11 टॉप रैंक उनकी जो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं दे विल बी अवेलेबल हेयर, और वी विल गेट कनेक्टेड विद द लोकल एकेडेमिया, विद द लोकल यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के साथ, और उसके साथ जो है वो स्टूडेंट्स के लिए भी। तो वी विल डेफिनेटली इनवाइट यू पीपल टू कम ओवर देयर। मूविन पिक में ये गैदरिंग है और तमाम यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के वाइस चांसलर्स को हम इनवाइट करेंगे, और उसके बाद हम ग्लोबली जो है वो 20 कंट्रीज़ में जो है वो जा रहे हैं। HEC के साथ हम सारा मैनेज करके दे रहे हैं, जहां हम पाकिस्तानी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के साथ इंटरनेशनल कोलैबोरेशन विद द फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटीज़ मैचिंग करेंगे कि किस किस एरिया में जो है वो हम उनको कनेक्ट करवा सकते हैं। और उसके अलावा पाकिस्तान में इंटरनेशनल ओवरसीज स्टूडेंट्स को लेके आएंगे ताकि वो भी हमारे एम्बेसडर बने। जिस तरह यहाँ पे फुल ब्राइट स्कॉलरशिप के हमारे एम्बेसडर हैं, हमारे जो है वो शिवनिंग स्कॉलरशिप के एम्बेसडर हैं। वाई नॉट स्टडी इन पाकिस्तान ग्लोबल स्कॉलरशिप एम्बेसडर्स? तो दिस इज़ व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डू। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर टाइम। थैंक यू। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।
Thank you, Mr. Samiullah. And now, to present tokens of our utmost gratitude and appreciation to our esteemed guests, speakers, conference partners, and sponsors, I'd like to invite on stage Vice Chancellor SHU and Conference Patron, Professor Dr. Shakil Ahmed Khan, Dean Faculty of Engineering and Conference Convener, Professor Dr. Zishanul Haq, Chief Operating Officer of the Salim Habib Education Foundation and Executive Director Finance, Salim Habib University, Mr. Mohammed Abbas, Registrar SHU, Professor Dr. Kaleem Raza Khan, Executive Director Education, Marketing, HR and Admin, Salim Habib University, as well as Executive Advisor of the conference, Dr. Mohammed Hussain Habib, and Conference Secretary, Engineer Shahir Mirza. These distinguished gentlemen will be presenting tokens of our appreciation on behalf of Salim Habib University, first of all to our chief guest, Professor Dr. Tariq Rafi. Sir, kindly stay on stage, please. The next recipient of this token of our appreciation is our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Farhan Isa. Kindly remain on stage, Dr. Farhan. And I will now announce the names of our incredible panelists, the Vice Chancellors, the first of whom is Professor Dr. Saeed Qureshi. Thank you, Dr. Saeed. Kindly stay on stage, please. Then there is Professor Dr. Johar Ali. Gentlemen, all of you are requested to stay on stage once you're up here. Sir, please stay on stage. Dr. Johar Ali, please stay on stage. Professor Dr. Waliuddin. Please stay on stage, sir. Professor Dr. Zubair Sheikh. Please stay on stage. And then Professor Dr. Tariq Rahim Sumro, please. Let's applaud for him, audience. Then our keynote speaker of the day, Professor Dr. Syed Athar Inam. We will now, sir, please stay on stage. These gentlemen will now present shields to our conference partners and sponsors, for which I'd like to invite representatives from the Institute of Engineers Pakistan IEP Karachi Center to please make their way to the stage. Please remain on stage, sir. Next is representatives from Dr. Isa Laboratory. Dr. Isa Lab is also both our partner and sponsor for this conference. Thank you, sir. Kindly stay on stage. And then representatives from IEEE Karachi Center, who is our partner for this conference. Let's applaud for these gentlemen, please. Thank you, sir. Please stay on stage. The reason I'm asking all of you to stay on stage is that we're now going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony and a cake cutting ceremony to officially signify that this conference is open. And for that, I'd like to also request any available faculty members of the Biomedical Engineering Department from Salim Habib University to join us on stage as well. Dr. Akhil Ahmed, Dean, Faculty of Science, is requested to join us on stage as well. Biomedical engineering faculty members, kindly make your way to the stage. Shakir Sahab is also requested to join us on stage. Gentlemen, kindly stay on stage because we have another token of appreciation for a special guest, Mr. Samiullah Sami. Sir, kindly make your way here. Gentlemen, please, you're requested to stay on stage. There's a shield, and then we're going to have a group photo. Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Shakil Ahmed Khan and Dr. Zishan are requested to return to the stage, please. Dr. Zubair A. Sheikh as well. To present a token of our appreciation to Mr. Samiullah Sami. Guests, our esteemed guests making their way down are requested to line up here in front of the stage for group photos. Group photos, gentlemen, please. Professor Dr. Shakil Ahmed Khan, Professor Dr. Zishan ul Haq, Mr. Muhammad Abbas, Professor Dr. Kaleem Raza Khan, Dr. Muhammad Hussain Habib, the Vice Chancellors who were our panelists, our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Athar Inam, our conference sponsors and exhibitors and partners and their representatives, please, we're going to have a group photo here. Kindly make your way to the front of the stage. Chief guest, Professor Dr. Tariq